Smile so wide, telling us promises, it's all just a game. But behind their words there's nowhere to hide, selling our dreams down the river of shame. Why do they lie every time they speak? A puppet on strings, feeding us the sea. We're tired of the show, we're sick of the con, but they'll keep lying until we're all gone. They call it a future, but it's nothing but dust. Building the kingdom on the backs of the poor. How do they expect us to still trust when all we get is locked outdoors? Why do they lie every time they speak? A puppet on strings, feeding us the sea. We're tired of the show, we're sick of the con, but they'll keep lying until we're all gone. We won't be fooled by the mask they wear. Their lies unravel when the truth's in the air. We'll rise above, no longer blind. Together we'll claim what they left behind. Why do they lie every time they speak? A puppet on strings, feeding us the sea. We're tired of the show, we're sick of the con, but they'll keep lying until we're all gone.
Hey guys, how you doing?
How you
What's up,
doing,
Dave? What's going on?
What's going on? Busy as ever.
Yeah. So tell us, how's the retirement game going? Gearing up for it.
Yeah, well, it seems like everybody's trying to punish me everybody's trying to get a piece of me before I leave.
Oh wow. Hey Bobbity. What's up, Jimmy? That's what it seems like, right? Because they know that, once you're gone, you're gone.
Yeah, everybody's trying to get a piece of me, and then I got all that, and then I got to worry about shutting the.
Well, it's nice to be wanted and needed, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There you go. So
crazy week, huh?
Crazy week.
Holy mackerel, crazy week.
Of course, Dementor Joe is right out there leading the pack and guiding the successful administration efforts.
Wow. We were just talking, guys, backstage, and Elon, I got to find it, but Elon sent a really angry tweet out because, hey, thanks, man. Yeah, I created that one myself. What's up, Jeremiah? But Elon was pissed because he was going to send the Starlink stuff, but because they are fucking juveniles in the Biden administration, petty children, they know that Elon and Trump are friendly. They're friends, right? And they didn't want to give anything to anyone that could make Trump look good in their eyes. And so the FCC is blocking them from bringing the Starlink in. I mean, you have people there now. There's stories, and they've been corroborated by now. There's stories where they're saying, no, we're not going to let people in there. And then, like we were talking, they're like, well, why won't you go in? They're like, well, how are we supposed to? There's no roads. They're all underwater. And I'm like, there's people that have been there in those mountains for 100 generations, for goodness sake. They know how to get around. And that's when we started getting into the whole NASCAR thing, because they were running against the revenuers.
Yeah. Apparently, FEMA is actually stopping the volunteers from going in.
Right. Exactly. They are. They really are. It's just unbelievable. I got. Let's go over some of the stuff. We got a lot to talk about this week. Let me go over it. So, the big ones, the ones in the center, are the ones that I like to do first. Whistleblowers allege FEMA is misappropriating and withholding funds from hurricane disaster relief. So it's not that they just don't have any money because they spent $1.4 billion on illegal aliens. They're misappropriating money. There we go. Election data expert warns of vote laundering. Holy Mary, explains how Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson is allegedly framing innocent voters who could be charged with a felony. Really. Proud Southerner, this one's going to be great. This proud Southerner tells Kamala to take her $750 and wipe your ass with it. Steve wrote that. It's great, too. Musk blasts FCC for illegally pulling Starlink award, says it would have helped victims of Hurricane Helene. Now get this, Trump endorsed by hundreds of national security experts. See how they always go, there were 51 intelligence officers who signed that. Well, he's endorsed by hundreds of national security experts, former military members, and Gold Star families. There you go. FEMA is broke and slow, but Pete Buttplug halts drone flights providing aid and insulin. It's gotten worse. I put this up there this morning, but it's gotten worse since. And get this. Hurricane Helene victims in North Carolina are fending for themselves as response from Biden-Harris's FEMA underwhelms everything. These people are just crazy. Then we got a bunch of stories up here we're going to go over. A lot of them are really good. But holy mackerel, what a week, man. Hey, what's up, Linda? How you doing? Hey, Lou, what's going on? What's up, people?
How you doing, everybody?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, man. Buttplug, yeah. I'll beat it. Every time I say his name in videos, it's always like I go, and Pete Buttigieg. Anything, because he's such a loser. All right. So let me go into this first one. Here we go. This is Blade.
If there wasn't DEI, he wouldn't have a job.
I know. Whistleblowers allege FEMA is misappropriating and withholding funds from hurricane disaster relief, says Gates. Republican U.S. Representative Gates from Florida called on the Federal Emergency Management Agency to answer questions related to allegations from whistleblowers accusing the agency of mismanagement. Oh yeah, I had. Sorry to interrupt.
Well, I think you noted this on your video drop. What
today?
What the voting record typically of
the
Carolinas and East Tennessee is, and you wonder why the Democrat administration isn't particularly interested in them.
Yeah.
Just the same way they weren't interested in the working people in Pennsylvania, in Palestine, Ohio. I should say.
Oh yeah. It's because it's actually. Thank you for reminding me. It's actually because they look down on you. They look down on working class people no matter what, but they look at you with apathy. And if you are a red voter, if you're in a red district and you're a working class, they consider you the same as we look at cockroaches, right?
Oh yeah, they would like to see us all eliminated. If you have a really solidly red voting area, they'd like to see it underwater.
Oh yeah, and guess what? Now they are. I got this one thing. Let me see if I can find it, because I was like floored. This is an FBI agent who is, I should find it. He said, this is my last day of serving, the country. No, I don't think I'm going to find it. Damn, I don't know how I lost it.
I saw a video from one of the people out there, and this was a young guy looking very fragile, looking like a typical latte Democrat, and crying.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw the video, and saying, where is the government? They're not helping. Everybody is hurting so much. Where are they? I used to be, I used to be a Democrat voter, and I think they're shooting themselves in the foot by what they're doing.
Oh yeah. Oh well, shoving all those illegals into blue cities because they were sanctuary cities, right there. That was just unreal. That was one of the biggest mistakes they ever made. It seriously was. But anyway, there was this guy. I'll try to find it during. I wanted to play it now, and sorry, it's my fault. I forgot to look it up again. But here it's an FBI guy, and he's testifying, and he said, this is recent too. He's a whistleblower, and he said, "Look, I'm considering this my last day as a public servant under the FBI." And he basically went on to say, I just want to acknowledge that the FBI has no intentions of reining themselves in, that they are full blown, like, off the rails, that there's no system of checks and balances for them, and that you should buy a gun, you should buy several guns, you should buy. They said, years ago people used to have pantries with food. He goes, you should do that now. And he was it was chilling the way he was talking, and he wasn't like acting like a badass,
The FBI investigated itself
Yes.
and found that it did
Yes,
no
sir.
wrong.
What's up, Chris? What's up, brother, man? Yeah, we'll bring in a little bit. Okay, we always and pray. Yeah, dude, I can't find that link. I want to play that. So, but it's not in my. They might have removed it because it's not in my history anymore. They may have removed.
Did you hear what I said, though?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The FBI investigated itself and found that it did no wrong.
Yeah, it did no wrong. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, that makes me feel better.
They're premier investigative agency in the country, so they must be right.
Yeah, well, they no longer do law enforcement. They're now an intelligence agency, and there's a reason for that. We'll get into that. Gates claims mirrored accusations from many on the ground in the disaster from Hurricane Helene that the federal government wasn't doing enough to help Americans in distress. Quote, my office has been in contact with whistleblowers in numerous emergency Let me say this, too. Remember under the first phony impeachment of Trump, when that guy, Eric Charmella, you weren't allowed to say his name, right? And in fact, you could say his name. The only person, according to the law, Adam Schiff once again lied. No shocker there. But the only person that was not allowed to, under law, was the name of the inspector general that you whistleblowed to. Okay, but anybody else could say his name, right? And David Harris Jr., we had written a story outing the guy, and Facebook kicked us off. They just took us off. And luckily, it's a true story. Luckily, David was actually in Atlanta with Trump on stage at the time doing a show which was Black Votes for Trump. And we had hit him up, and he was like on stage looking at his thing. And he goes over and shows Trump. And Trump's like, he goes over and talks to somebody. Within 2 hours, they put us back. Seriously, that's a true story. They put us back up. It was unbelievable what they did. Anyway, so, you had Adam Schiff for brains during the middle of oh, come on, we have to shut this down. We have to protect the whistleblower, right? Well, now this administration treats whistleblowers like shit. I mean, under the impeachment, when the Democrats were in charge of the House, they acted like they were virtuous and that, they were godlike, godly, if you will. And now it's like all these FBI whistleblowers, you know what happens? They have a contract when they sign up. And the contract says that while the contract is valid, and they decide when it's not, unless you're retiring or something, or if you quit, you say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. But you're not allowed to work anywhere else. You can't moonlight. You're not allowed to. Now they do, but you're not officially not allowed to. And so what they're doing is they're putting them not on a suspension, but on something else. I can't remember what it was, but they're not ending their contract and they're not paying them. I mean, think about that. These guys, some of them are like 9 months out. They're not allowed to work anywhere and earn a living, but they're not getting paid. That's being a real prick. And that's what
unless it's somebody that alleges something against a conservative.
Oh, yeah, against Trump, then a friggin' hero. They get an
anonymous
promoted.
An anonymous source in the administration with
Right.
access to the information.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, the reason why I say that about they're not a law enforcement agency anymore. Under law enforcement, okay, you have timelines, right? When you start a case, you have so many days that you have to present for an indictment, right? You get all your warrants, you do all your investigations, and then the clock runs out, right? Well, when you're an intelligence organization, what clock? You're just investigating. You're not going to charge anybody with anything yet, right? I mean, think about it. The CIA does not have does not have arresting powers. They don't have law enforcement powers. They don't even carry guns, the most of them, right?
Well, the CIA isn't supposed to do any work within the country.
Exactly, but the CIA doesn't do law enforcement, right? Well, they can do whatever they want. That's how they get away with shit.
Yeah,
there's nobody overlooking them, right? So
my understanding is that the federal government does not have the authority to have any federal policing powers.
No, they don't.
The FBI was set up as an investigatory agency. They did not have police powers. So you could be an investigative agency and then share your information with the local.
Do you know that the Constitution does not give the federal government the power to own land, and yet they own most of the left of the country? They don't have the power to own land. The only thing I could possibly see, because they don't have the power to create a standing army either, only a navy. Okay. And if you read the Constitution, and so I could understand if they say, well, you know what, if we have a navy, well, we got to have buildings, right? Yeah, well, you can lease them. You don't have to own the property. But what happened was when the territory started opening up and all these different states were coming into being, and now they were a territory and a province, all that bullshit, right? And so what happened was the Congress, the members of Congress were wheeling and dealing, saying, well, we'll let you do this, this, and this here, and we'll help you to become a state, but you got to give us some land. And they were stealing land left and right. And then it just, after like 20 years of doing that, they were just, fuck it, we're just going to take it. So then they just went in and said, yeah, here we are. We're going to take this much land, that much land. And so now, like, if you look at a map of the United States, of where, in fact, I'm going to grab one for you. Watch this.
Yeah, we're on a tangent here, though. The point being that the feds do not have, or were never supposed to have policing powers.
No.
They were never supposed to have actual police powers. The FBI was never supposed to be able to be knocking in people's doors.
Right.
Never.
Oh, I know. Let me do this. Let me show you guys. Look at this shit. So the red is where the feds own. Look at that.
National parks and the like.
Yeah, well, yeah, but also just land, like federal buildings and air bases and stuff like that, right?
In the West, there's also a lot of national parks.
Yeah, but why? What? Why?
Well, I can tell you
the right to do that.
For part of it, the land in and around where I am, just west of where I am, in the Rocky Mountains, is completely uninhabitable. Yeah. A lot of it. There's places where you can get, a city, and then you can get a road between peaks. So that's how the feds ended up managing it. But
hey, Evan, welcome.
But yeah. But anyway, we need to move into the news. The whole point was that the feds now have taken upon themselves to be federal police when that was never supposed to be.
Oh, I know. All right, let me see. Whistleblower alert. There we go. All right, let's go back to this. So he went on to say that his office confirmed that hundreds, if not thousands, of service members have been sent to the disaster area, but were sitting on the sideline instead of helping hurricane victims. I heard one today. Holy Christ. I heard one today where it was a clip that was going around. It was on Hannity and was on a couple others, where I think it was the mayor of one of the towns. And he said that he got a bunch of people. They found a bunch of people from their town, and they said, look, we're going to get you shelter. So they went up to one of the biggest hotels that are there, and they said, yeah, we'd like to get some rooms for these people. The city will pay for it. He goes, I'm sorry, sir. We're full up. He goes, are you serious? He goes, yeah. He said, all the federal agents, they took all the rooms. The friggin' federal agents took the rooms. When do you expect them to sleep? In their fucking trucks. That's where. In their trucks. But they took all the rooms. You can't make this shit up. So their illegal aliens took up all the hotels in New York, right? I have an itch that won't go.
Yeah, was it you that were saying that today? There's hotels that are completely filled with illegal aliens.
Oh, with illegal aliens. Oh yeah. There was one story I did where they kicked out. Was he Navy or Army? I can't remember. They kicked out a soldier who apparently was a hero because he got awards through the war, and they kicked him out of a nursing home, like everybody, and he was one of them. But they kicked him out. He lived there. It was like a nursing home. He was there already for like 13 years or something, and they kick him out because they got to put illegals in. And he was like, "Where the hell am I supposed to go?" he had no, I think he had a sister, and she didn't have the means to help him, but she got some friends together to try to get him. Like, he's sleeping like 3 nights on this couch, a night here, you know. I'm unbelievable.
Yeah,
These
but
people,
the whole point of going to a nursing home is that you can't live alone.
Take care
You
of
can't time to take care of yourself.
exactly. But they needed the warm bodies of the. They consider illegal aliens unregistered Democrats. That's what they consider them. You know, and let me tell you something. It's true. I say this all the time. If it was known that illegal aliens overwhelmingly vote Republican, the Democrats would be catapulting them back over the Rio Grande 24/7. Does anybody doubt it?
They'd be shooting them out of cannons.
Right. We have confirmed FEMA employees deployed on the clock, awaiting orders in hotels. There we go. FEMA pre-disaster aid was withheld, exacerbating the emergency to let it continue. Gates determined, I can't read tonight. Gates demanded to know how much of the FEMA annual budget was spent on illegal aliens as opposed to that spent on American citizens. Oh, well, we'll circle back for you, Congressman, and get back to you in 6 months. Videos and stories on social media have painted a grim picture of the severe damage and tragic deaths in the hurricane disaster. While many individuals are taking it upon themselves to help fellow Americans, some are accusing the government of failing to help, and even worse, getting in the way of private aid efforts. Yeah, they told people you can't go in there and give aid. Some of them went, fuck you.
They stopped them on the road.
Some of them went, fuck you, and they pulled the guns out, and they're like, no, you're not going in there. It's like, okay, these guys lived here for generations and generations, and they know how to get in and out, and you're going to stop them? Just like the Starlink that we talked about earlier, which we'll get into. But, I mean, unbelievable.
And confiscated the goods in some cases, I understand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it reminds you of when Hamas goes and steals all the supplies.
Yeah.
Right? We'll do that later. Here we go. This is just great. All right. So, proud Southerner tells Kamala to take her 750 and wipe your ass with it. Right? It says, if you are undecided about whom to vote for in November, just look at how Harris Biden, he always calls Harris Biden now, which I love. Harris Biden has spent your tax dollars. How much has been spent on illegal aliens invading this country? Would you believe over $400 billion? And he gives the link for it. House Budget Committee held a hearing entitled The Cost of the Border Crisis to highlight the importance of border security and the fiscal implications of President Biden's failed border policies. Witnesses from, well, I would say it's Kamala's because she was the border czar. Witnesses from the Federation for American Immigration Reform, FAIR, Texas Public Policy Foundation's Secure the Sovereign Texas Initiative, and whatever. Committee on the federal level. The greatest national security threat of the American people is posed by these open borders. Of course, but let's just get down to the guy. There it is. This. Let me bring it up so I can expand it. Share this tab instead. Here we go. Hold on. Let's bring it back. I want to bring it open, and there. Here we go.
Kamala Harris, we don't want you here. We don't want your party here in North Carolina. If you're a Democrat and you live in North Carolina, good for you. But this woman is given illegal immigration Haitians more rights to be entitled to be called American. Thousands of dollars in food stamps. Loads of money in their pockets. And she's going to give the people in the mountains $750 fucking dollars. You can take that money and go wipe your ass with it, Kamala. These people, if they choose to stay there and live and to rebuild, they really need government assistance. They really need the food stamps. They need the checks put in their checking account every fucking 2 weeks so they can survive and provide for their families. You people in office are so fucking sick and so disgusting. Hearing you fuckers talk, and you Democrats or you far left extremists just fucking keep swiping. I don't even have enough time for your ass right now. I'm seeing videos, I'm reading comments of people slashing people's tires to keep them from fucking sending aid, you sick bastards.
Right.
And when did this fucking hurricane become political? the more and more I get on these updates. I took a vacation there a long time ago when I was a child. The area that I went to is gone. It's gone.
That's passionate. It's sad, man. It's really sad what these fucking doing.
This fucking world, this country's so fucked up, y'all don't even give a fuck anymore.
Sad.
Do you even give a fuck about life? Huh?
Who's playing the piano in that room?
And you fucking law enforcement and you fucking first responders, take your fucking high authority and shove it up your ass. If people are going there to help, let them fucking help.
Yeah, exactly.
Because apparently y'all don't do shit.
Yep.
Telling someone they can't fly their helicopter to send aid.
Yep.
Apparently the last report I've seen, there's more people with private helicopters out there than there is the fucking army.
Yeah. They don't have money
flag me for my language, TikTok. But this fucking app has got people too fucking comfortable. Could you imagine losing your home? I mean, losing everything. And you have nothing to go back to. It's gone.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Half of us are too entitled to even know any better.
Wow. What do you say to that?
Yeah, these people are hurting.
They are hurting. And it just seems to me that this administration, I mean, look, a lot of times I join in on, the insults, the jumping on them, all that, because, I'm a conservative. I don't like them at all, their policies and all that. But there really is something about these people where they have an apathy for anyone who's working class people, middle class, anything below their status, their level of living.
Anything that doesn't serve them, anything that doesn't vote Democrat.
East Palestine, when that train derailment happened, they asked Buttigieg 3 weeks later, why aren't you out there? And his answer was, there's like 100 derailments across the country every week. And in other words, what's so special about this one?
Well, what
they weren't saying is that it was a red district.
It's a red county.
It was a red, it was a red district in which this happened. But we're talking that there was freaking, and they tried to blame Trump. They tried to blame Trump. And it took Mr. Potato Head a year to get out there, Dementia Joe, a freaking year to get out there. I remember I saw the videos when the SUVs were coming around the turn and all the people were like this, boo, fuck you, giving the president the finger. He deserved more than that.
48 hours. He was there. Trump was there like in 48 hours.
Trump was there, and he brought the water and he brought everything that they need, and I'm not even going to get into that. It's the fact that Buttigieg didn't even think to go there to assess it, to get his people there, because they said FEMA wasn't there for a while. Like, they just didn't get there. And then you have the fuckers in the media. Oh, that's not true. They were there right away. Really? No video of them. No one saying, hey, FEMA's here. No one. It's just, they just have an apathy for anybody that is below them. And, well, first of all, no. I think I said it in my video this way. They look down on everybody who's working class and lower, but they have apathy on working class if you vote red. And they really, they have a pattern now. 4 years, they have a pattern of showing that they literally do things based on equity and based on voting patterns. Because did you see Kamala, where she said that the disaster relief is going to be done through equity? And I'm like, what? Holy shit. You do it based on who needs. You don't do it based on, was there enough Asian women there? And what about those gay black guys over there? And what about the Hispanics? And we got to have this many women who think they're men and vice versa. Come on, guys. Yeah, an entire political party of AJs. AJ is this retarded guy that that goes on my brother's show a lot, and see all these guys, they know him. Yeah, he's on the spectrum, you know, and the booze and doesn't help. But okay, so I went on a rant. I'm sorry. Let me go back.
Well, what other stories we got? I'm sure there's other topics.
Yeah, let's do the Musk story. So Musk blasts FCC for illegally pulling Starlink award. Yeah, they're literally telling him, no, you can't take them in there. Billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk on Wednesday said that the Federal Communications Commission's decision to not move forward with an award for SpaceX's Starlink to provide rural broadband may have cost lives in North Carolina when it was hit by Hurricane Helene. See, this is different from the story I heard today where he went off the rails, complaining, saying this is just outrageous. I mean, they were ready to take them in. It would have helped a lot of people. Because there's people that they have cell phones, but they have no coverage or anything because everything was destroyed. But if he brought them in, they would all of a sudden they'd be able to be found, right? Nope. Biden administration. I mean, look, this is an administration that stopped the end of the war in Ukraine. I've talked about this before. There may be new people watching that about a year and a half ago, Putin, through his messengers, sent to their counterparts, to Zelensky, saying, look, all you have to do is get a government document saying that Ukraine will never join NATO. And if you sign that with the press around and the world seeing it, I will pull my troops out in 48 hours. Zelensky went for it. He went running through, where the hell do they make these? You know, he got all his people to make the document. He called all the news, and he was heading with the pen to sign it to the ceremony, and he gets a phone call. And the phone call was from Antony Blinken, our feckless piece of shit Secretary of State, who said, you can't do this unless Putin agrees to step down. Now, they knew Putin wasn't going to step down. So anybody that says, we got to support the war effort, there's people dying, fuck you, is the only appropriate response to that. Because they could have ended the war. Zelensky wanted to end the war. Putin wanted to end the war.
Yeah, we've been
and stepped in. Blinken actually stepped in and screwed up. I'm sorry, I'm all over.
Yeah, no, we've actually talked about this several times. I mean, they want to keep the war going. War is big business.
Well, because they send the vouchers. They don't send cash over. When they say 60 billion, no, they send vouchers over, and those vouchers are worth 60 billion, and those vouchers are then spent on munitions, and the munitions manufacturers just happen to be in the districts of many of the people that are pushing for the war, the Democrats and the rhinos. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that wonderful? And they donate their money, right? They donate to their campaign coffers. That's how the money's being made.
Yeah, people like Raytheon.
I'm telling you, man, it's so freaking corrupt. The Democrats for like 30 years have been using Ukraine as a personal ATM machine. There's so much corruption that could go on over there.
Well, the main
and Joe Biden was in the middle of it.
I mean, it's an open secret that the main industry of Ukraine was money laundering.
Yeah, money laundering. That's what it was. I mean, what the hell do people think that the Hunter Biden, the job at the gas company was?
Money laundering.
Yeah, because you know who owned it? The same Ukrainian oligarch billionaire who owned Privat Bank, and Privat Bank was the bank that was sending that $82,000 a month through the gas company. It's unbelievable. And you know, Hunter gets a no-show job on their legal team, doesn't know how to speak Ukraine, doesn't know anything about Ukraine, doesn't know anything about the gas industry, you know, fossil fuel industry at all, knows nothing about it. And we're supposed to believe that shit. And then I played that audio file where Trump won. It was in the president-elect part, and it was Biden on the phone with Petro Poroshenko, who was the president then of Ukraine, saying, tell the governor of the bank to shut it all down because Trump's coming in. Fucking crooked to the core. If they call him Lunchbox Joe. Now, he's great. He's going to bring back civility. Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, responded to a post on X from a user who noted that North Carolina would have 19,522 working Starlink kits available today after Hurricane Helene had the FCC not revoked in bad faith the grant that was awarded to SpaceX as the winning bidder. Had the FCC not illegally revoked the SpaceX Starlink award, it would probably have saved lives in North Carolina, Musk wrote in his response. Lawfare costs lives. And now you know why they're going after all his businesses. See, this is how the fucking communists work every time there's communists. You know, it's just unbelievable what this government's doing. The western part of North Carolina was hit particularly hard by Hurricane Helene, which also brought devastation to other parts of the Southeast after it made landfall in Florida's Big Bend region as a Category 4. Oh, I had heard it was a 3, so it was a 4 in some points. At least 170 people have been confirmed dead in 6 states, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee, in what is now the second deadliest hurricane to hit the U.S. mainland. Now, I heard guys earlier on saying this thing is 100 times worse than Katrina. SpaceX's Starlink, which provides high-speed internet via satellite connections, was awarded $885 million by the FCC in 2020. That was before Elon went the freedom road to help expand high-speed internet access around the country in rural areas. And don't get me wrong, he's not a conservative. He's not. He's a liberal, but he's like
a populist.
He's a unicorn. You know, he claims he's a liberal, but you're right, he's a populist. He claims he's a liberal, but he's not a lunatic like the overwhelming majority of them today. He's not a Looney Tunes. I think he is a populist. I don't think he's a nationalist. I think he loves America very much, but he has, you know, other countries where he lives too. But he is definitely a populist. He just wants to help people, and he wants to make money, yeah, but he wants to help people too in the interim.
Yeah,
So
I think Elon and my political views are very similar. I'm really not a hardline conservative. I'm probably.
I got to boot you out of here. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, you know, you could.
Why would I do that?
I certainly sound like one these
Hey,
days.
Liquid, what's up?
I'm probably what at some point would have been called a classical liberal. Living
yeah, classical liberals.
I'm gonna do what I do. You do what you do.
Exactly. Don't mess with. That's my foreign policy. Don't fuck with us, and we won't destroy you.
Yeah. You know, it's like the agreement I have with the insects. They don't come inside the house, and I don't squish them.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good deal.
I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, it is.
And I have this electric fly swatter. It's great. It's great. Works with a 9-volt battery. It's great. You tag the fly, you see a spark, and it flies like a dead helicopter to the ground.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, we're done with that one.
Yeah, what else we got?
Let's see. Let me close that out. Yeah, Trump endorsed. This is great. Ready? Trump endorsed by hundreds of national security experts, former military members, and Gold Star families. The reason why I love this headline is because the libnuts, they always say things like there are 19 special forces guys that all said that Donald Trump would be a disgrace for democracy, right? There's 51 former intelligence officers who said that it's Russian disinformation, the laptop. You know, they always put these freaking numbers out, and you're like, get the hell out of here. So Trump is endorsed by hundreds of national security experts. Democrats and the Kamala Harris campaign have been quick to brag about the endorsements she received from people like Liz and Dickie Cheney, as well as former members of the Bush administration. Now we know where they were all along, right? Trump has gotten a much more important endorsement this week. Hundreds of national security experts, foreign policy specialists, former military members, and Gold Star families have just endorsed Trump, and it's easy to see why. More than 400 national security and foreign policy officials, ex-cabinet members, and you know how they always go, well, he was a cabinet member of yours, and he said, you're a disgrace. So now we got this. In an open letter organized by former National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien and former NSC Chief of Staff Alex Gray, the signatories condemned the repeated failures of the Biden-Harris administration's foreign policy and urged Americans to re-elect Trump. From a world at from a world at peace under President Trump, we are closer to a third world war than ever before under the Biden-Harris administration, the letter states, with multiple escalating wars around the world, an open border that allows terrorists to flood into the American homeland and malign actors like China operating unabated. U.S. national security has been profoundly damaged by the failed policies of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. 11 family members, 11 family members, gold stars, of the 13 American troops killed at Abbey Gate at Kabul's airport during the 2021 disastrous withdrawal. They signed the letter, which praised Trump's foreign policy record in contrast to Biden's controversial actions. Controversial. That's being polite. Additionally, 40 retired U.S. ambassadors, 75 retired senior military officers, and several hundred officials. Now watch. You're gonna have CNN come out and go, no, that was a lie. It was 39 retired ambassadors. He lied. That's what they'll do. You watch. Praising Trump's diplomatic efforts on ceasefire agreements between Turkey and Kurdish fighters in Syria and the Abraham Accords. Right. He never gets credit for any of that. The letter refers to Trump as a peacemaker. The United States and the world enjoyed an unprecedented period of relative peace during Trump's first term. Democrats and the media think people have forgotten that, but no one has. That's exactly right, man. No one has forgotten that. He brought up the Abraham Accords, which brought peace between Israel and several of the Islamic Muslim countries over there. And the way he did it was he said, look, you guys want to make money. These guys want to make money. Why don't you make money together? Just stop trying to kill each other. Made sense. Because I think Israel is one of the leading security countries in the world, like for security products and services.
Well, they found out where the head of Hezbollah was.
Yeah, they nailed his ass, didn't they? And that's why Iran fired the ballistic missiles.
Yeah, but nobody ever knew where he was going to be and when.
Right. Well, the same thing happened with bin Laden, even though we knew he was there for a long time. But no, they always said, oh, we don't know where the fuck he is.
For all I know, he's still running a garage in Philadelphia.
I know, because we don't see his body, right? They said that they killed him, and then they said, well, we gave him a burial at sea. Why? Why would you do that? So we don't know. FEMA is broke and slow, but Pete Buttplug tries to halt drone flights, providing aid and insulin. Can you believe this shit? It's been a rough week for the Kamala Harris campaign. To counter that bad energy, Dems everywhere seem to have decided to follow in the footsteps of Hillary Clinton and brand conservatives as stupid, craven, and not worth saving. In other words, we are all deplorables. We wear that with a badge of honor. The first example is more of a backhanded slap. The Biden administration, as represented by Kamala Harris, offered up $750 aid package. Wow. For Hurricane Helene victims. They gave like, what was it, $2,200 or $2,500 to illegals. Remember when they got their goodies bag and they got a Biden phone and the debit card with like $2,200? She offers $750 for hurricane victims. The people that paid for all that other shit. The cruel twist, the paltry sum is available online, and virtually all the survivors have no electricity to plug into or charge their devices, let alone Wi-Fi or cellular service. So like, here it is, but they can't get to it, right? In the meantime, the same administration is doling out massive and seemingly endless aid packages to foreign countries at war. Further, it has come to light that the Federal Emergency Management Agency has experienced a tremendous case of purpose drift. Should we play these? Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what they say.
I see two key pieces. First, right now we have to strengthen Ukraine's position on the battlefield. And that's why today I'm proud to announce a new $2.4 billion.
Shut the fuck up. I'm just so sick of these guys. As the name implies, FEMA is the agency America turns to during times of emergency, such as natural disaster. Unfortunately, as reported by the Federalist, the agency's coffers are all but empty after allocating funds to illegal aliens. Yeah, the 1.4. The federal FEMA allocated nearly $364 million in the fiscal year 2023 and $650 million in 2024 fiscal year to the Shelter and Services Program to provide humanitarian services to non-citizen migrants. Well, why not? They're flying them the hell in, right? They're also sending buses down to the Guatemala border with Mexico, and they're driving them all through Mexico to get to our border. You can't make this shit up.
Well, you don't want them to take that dangerous journey on
I know. That would be inhumane.
Inhumane, you bigot.
Jesus Christ.
Bigot.
Oh my God.
Bigot.
Yeah. Pete Buttigieg misreads situation. The tenure of Department of Transportation Pete Buttplug has been plagued with issues, from a train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, that resulted in a massive chemical spill, to a rash of Boeing airliner issues, to the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore Harbor. He's probably thinking, like, of all the jobs that I had absolutely no right to be in, they had to put me in that one. Now, Buttplug has attempted to ground drones in North Carolina. The Army of Drones. Yeah, did you hear that shit? He said, no, you can't fly drones in it. The Army of Drones, operated by concerned citizens, have located persons in need of rescue and delivered life-saving insulin and other supplies, as reported in the New York Post. Considering the maddeningly slow pace of the rescue effort, Buttigieg effectively ordered residents not to fend for themselves and instead put their trust in an agency many believe have already dropped the ball, was adding insult to injury. Quote, "You would think more eyes in the sky would be a good thing when there are people that need to be rescued, but what do I know?" one ex-user replied. "Your help is worse than doing nothing," seethed another. Others pointed out how private drones have been used to deliver items like insulin and baby formula to those in need, particularly those living in more remote terrain who have been largely cut off from the rest of the world. Yeah, imagine like there's a lot of mountainous area in there, right? So imagine you live up in one of the mountains and you got to go down this one road for like a half hour before you get to a main road that you can get to somewhere. And that main road is completely underwater. Now it's a river. So you can't go anywhere, right? So they're going to argue, mark my words, the federal government's going to say, well, we couldn't get in there because the roads weren't there. Yeah, well, the people who lived there for generations know how to get up and down. Why don't you let them do it? Oh, we can't do that because we're the federal government. These people are fucking sick. They're sick bastards. So what else do we have? Next one. Got anything to say on that, Jade?
Yeah, I think you just said it all, Rich.
Yeah.
You know, trust me. I'm from the government.
Yeah, I'm from the government.
We're from the government and we're here to help.
Help. Yeah. Hang on. Let me bring this one up.
So what? Yeah, we're going to run out of time. Let's maybe some other stories, other topics.
Well, I got election data warns of vote laundering, explains how Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson is allegedly framing innocent voters who could be charged with a felony. Stunning analysis of voter history records by Michigan data expert Tim Vetter reveals explosive findings about Michigan's corrupt voter rolls, and they're aimed squarely at the person who's been entrusted to ensure their accuracy. If Mr. Vetter, who analyzes data for a living, is correct, he argues that Michigan SOS Jocelyn Benson could have potentially put many innocent Michigan voters in hot water with the law. What this is they know that Trump's probably going to take Michigan because Kamala is pushing the electric vehicle bullshit on them and they don't want it. And Trump is saying, I mean, think about it. Trump was saying that if China thinks this is the bloodbath thing. If China thinks that they're going to build a plant to manufacture cars in Mexico and sell them in the U.S., I'll put 100% tariff on them. Nobody will buy them, right? Well, you're a guy that's manufacturing autos in Detroit. You're like, I'm voting for that motherfucker because this bitch wants me to lose my job to the EV people, right? I mean, it only makes sense. Tim Vetter, a Michigan resident, is a lead data analyst with United Sovereign Americans, USA, a nonpartisan organization comprised of thousands of grassroots citizen volunteers from across the United States working to ensure legally valid elections that are fair, accurate, and trustworthy. I think that ship has sailed, honestly. United Sovereign Americans aren't simply complaining on social media about their findings. When their team discovers election fraud, they sue the. Oh, good. They sue them. Excellent. On August 28, 2024, Tim Vetter joined USA, Michigan Fair Elections, Check My Vote founder under Fannie Phil O'Halloran and Braden. Okay, former candidate, these names, former candidate for Michigan Governor Dana Brandenburg and the current U.S. Congress candidate Nick Somberg, who's running in Michigan's 11th district against the far left U.S. and Stephen, just say Democrat, to follow a lawsuit against Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State. The Michigan Department of Elections, Michigan AG Dana Nessel, who is a see you next Tuesday, and U.S. AG Merrick Garland. The lawsuit contends that Michigan election officials did not meet Michigan's 2022 federal election minimum standards, which every state must maintain as outlined by the United States Congress in order for a federal election to be considered reliable. In other words, they're doing everything they can to screw with the vote.
Yeah, Rich, I told you a long time ago, months ago, I've got a good feeling about Michigan, except for the cheating, which nobody can predict. I've got a good feeling about Michigan, and, you know, Trump's out there and he's talking about saving the auto industry. He's going to have the UAW. He's got most of the Teamsters behind him.
Yep.
How can he not get Michigan?
Well, this is what he meant by overwhelm the vote. So it's a good thing now that we have like the Teamsters didn't actually
They didn't endorse him.
You know, because we bring the truth here. The Teamsters didn't actually endorse him. It was like a tacit endorsement because they said we are not going to endorse Kamala Harris, and 59% of our members support Trump. That's the best they could do, which, you know what? I'll take it. Right? I'll take it.
First time in 50 years the Teamsters haven't endorsed a Democrat.
Right. I'll take it. You know, and the GOP, which I'm surprised because it's still run by a lot of rhinos, but the GOP allowed the president of the Teamsters to come and speak at their convention this year. And you know what? I agreed with a lot of shit he said. Some of the stuff made me cringe, but some of the stuff I friggin' agreed with him. I was like, yeah, damn Skippy, man. But it's because the Republicans, thanks to Trump, are becoming more populist, nationalist populist. And I don't see anything wrong with that. The rhinos are like, no, you got to be conservative. You're not conservative, you jackass. You know, you're authority. Rhinos, I think, like Liz Cheney, I think, are war pig. Yeah, President Trump scorches bitter war pig, and former Congresswoman Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk. I love that.
Bitter war pig. That's good.
I know.
That's
war
good.
pig.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, bitter
That's
war
good.
pig. All she wants to do is shoot missiles at people. He's right, guys, because that was the whole reason why they had their tiff, because Trump did not want to get into new wars. He did not believe in the never-ending wars, and she needed her money.
That's how they support themselves.
She needed her money. That's how they keep getting in reelected, with the money that comes from the manufacturers. She needed that.
The
And so
Bush-Cheney war machine.
The other one that started acting up too was what's his name? Oh shit! Now I can't remember. South Carolina senator, not Scott. Hey, the gay guy. Ah, come on, guys, tell me who it is. Lindsey Graham. That's it. Lindsey Graham. Hey, right? Like, he's always been a war hawk too. But I think he was smart enough to know, you know what? I've been in the Congress most of my adult life after I spent a career in the Navy, and he could destroy me. So I'm going to shut up. Not Liz. Liz thought that she had, the whole world. She thought she had Trump by the short hair. She learned quickly, didn't she? Fox News reporter Bill Malugin caught up with President Trump on Thursday before his rally in Saginaw, Michigan. Malugin, isn't he the one that was at the border for like throughout the whole 4 years? He's like the greatest guy at the border because he's been there and he's reported everything. All right. He later went on Jesse Waters to share the interview. You know what sucks? That I have a lot of ADHD today. I'm getting off topic. Sorry, but Jesse Waters came into his own the way that Tucker did but it was after Tucker got the boot and nobody started watching Fox anymore. And I feel bad for Jesse because he is actually pretty good. Trump, the millions of illegal aliens, including over 1 million potential security threats he let into the country in the last 3.5 years. Is there a video on it? Because I'd rather watch that. I think there is. There might be. Let's see if we...
Hey, Jesse, good evening to you. We were able to catch up with former President Trump backstage before his rally here in Saginaw today. We covered a bunch of topics, including a concerning DHS Inspector General report, which revealed risks associated with migrants traveling across the country with no ID. Take a listen. What he found is CBP, ICE, and TSA have been releasing migrants into the country without ID and letting them board airplanes to fly domestically. And they say there's a risk with that. What are your thoughts on seeing that report?
Well, you don't have to know too much to know there's a risk. It's a risk with that like nobody's ever seen before. They have no idea who these people are, where they come from, where they're going. They just release them in like water coming into the country. I wish it was just water. There's no country in the world that would allow this to happen.
Biden says that Israel should not target Iranian nuke facilities. What are your thoughts on that? What should Israel respond?
I mean, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. It's the biggest risk we have. The biggest risk we have is nuclear. I mean, to make the statement, please leave their nuclear alone. I would tell you that that's not the right answer, because you know what? Soon they're going to have nuclear weapons, and then you're going to have problems.
Kamala Harris is out on the campaign trail today with Liz Cheney. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Liz Cheney lost for Congress. She was terrible. Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk. All she wants to do is shoot missiles at people. I really think it hurts. I think, frankly, if Kamala... I think they hurt each other. I think they're so bad, both of them.
And Jesse, I also asked former President Trump about Melania's recent memoir where she writes that she supports a woman's right to choose.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Who gives a shit?
You know, they have to double down now.
Oh, I know.
They have to double down because they've already stepped in it. And if Trump is elected, a lot of them are going to be up to their ears in hot water.
Oh, yeah.
So they've got to double down. They've got to do anything that they can to see him not get elected.
On that note, they are already saying that Trump will abuse the authority of the DOJ and go after his political enemies. And I saw this one broad on their convention, and she was saying just that. He's going to use the Department of Justice to go after his enemies. And I'm sitting there going, oh, my God.
Do you know what you're saying?
Are you really that effing stupid? You don't know that that's what your president has been doing to Trump?
Do you actually even understand what you're saying?
I mean, they don't. I mean, that's just holy mackerel.
He's going to use the DOJ against his enemies. Yeah. You mean
what he's been doing all along?
Like the lawfare that Merrick Garland has?
Exactly. I mean, think about that. The depth of stupidity to say, and she was serious too. It's like, excuse me, did you not hear about? But see, on their side of the aisle, they think all the things that when all those cases were legitimate. They thought they were all legitimate cases. They don't because they don't think beyond anything. You know, they read a headline and go, oh, wow, yeah. Trump, holy crap. Yeah, classified documents. He's not supposed to have those.
It even goes better than that because, yeah, they suck up anything that MSNBC and CNN tells them. And honestly, if you only listen to those stations and believed everything they said, you would consider it not only something you needed to do, but your absolute patriotic duty to get rid of Trump. But
oh yeah, well think about that. That's why two guys went to take shots at him.
Yeah, the fact is that they lie, and what the overall gestalt of the thing is that Orange Man is bad.
Oh yeah.
And anything that they do, no matter what, no matter how underhanded, no matter how horrible, is justified because Orange Man bad.
Oh, I know.
I heard I heard somebody say that about Israel Palestine. It was a Palestinian supporter, and she was saying
Hamas
after
supporter.
they.
What happened? We lost Jade. Either her power went out, or we lost her. Uh-oh. She'll come back. I have no idea what happened. She'll come back. Let me see what I can do until she comes back. Actually, I won't text her. I'll email her. Shut my email down. Way to go. Ah, there she is. Welcome back.
Oh, well, thank you.
Go ahead.
My phone is connected to my iPad, so anytime my phone rings, it disrupts the connection.
They were upset that you got. They were upset that you got booted.
Oh, well, I'm back. Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
The Richie and Dr. J show. Yeah, we should change it to that.
There you go. But what I was going to say, I remember seeing this Palestinian woman and Palestinian American, I guess. She was an American. And, oh, Rich, you missed me.
Talking without you, doctor.
You missed me.
I had no idea what to do.
Yeah, there you go. So
I was going to vote Democrat for a minute there.
Yeah, she was saying after the October the 7th attack, she was saying that anything they do is justified. Anything. So they were talking about, at that point, we were still talking about murdering babies, but they come in, they take hostages, they raped and torture. And she's saying anything they do is justified. So I really, really wanted to be there with her, because my question to her would be, okay. So you think anything they do is justified. So by extension, since these are combatants, you're saying that anything that Israel does is also justified, because, I mean, how can you say anything different? Right. So that, I would have asked her that,
Oh, yeah, I don't agree with that either, but
no, I'm just saying, in her point of view, if she's saying anything they do is justified.
Doctor, come back. These guys are going to roll with this for the rest of the night. So
I can see that.
Just enjoy it.
What is it? Doctor, my eyes.
Yeah, let's just enjoy it, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, how do you answer that? See, it's going to sound like I'm really picking on him, but you know what? I don't care. Joe Biden, once again, whenever I've been alive long enough to notice a pattern, and the pattern is that the Arab Muslims fire rockets, doesn't matter who, PLO, Hamas, whatever. They fire rockets, attack Israeli neighborhoods, whatever, for about 4 years until the Israelis say, you know what, enough is enough, right? And we're gonna kill you now. And they do their operations on them. It's like they have an Israeli soldier who's trained to the core against a guy with a slingshot, And you always had an American president, no matter what party. You had an American president who stepped in and said, hey, guys, tone it down a little, because it looks so lopsided. You're going to lose the public. We get it. These people are animals. They're dogs, and all they want to do is kill you. They don't want to live in peace. And while Islam is a religion of peace, and what they mean by that is we will have peace after we kill all the infidels. That's what they mean. That's what they mean by it. And so where was Joe Biden? He was nowhere. When October 7th happened, he was nowhere. He was nowhere when Israel held off for 3 weeks before they started their counteroffensive. It's because they wanted civilians to get out, but now we're told, oh, they killed civilians.
Well, that's because Hamas wouldn't let them out.
Exactly.
That's not the human shields. That's the whole thing. And then,
I had an argument with a guy. It was a polite argument, but it was with a guy in work this week, and he was saying things like, the people can't even leave. The Israelis won't let them leave, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, they haven't been in Gaza since 2005. Because yeah, but they won't let them out. They're not allowed. I'm like, dude, there's 3 exits. one is in Israel. And do you really think they're going to let people who voted overwhelmingly for terrorists that want to kill them into their country? No, and they don't have to. The other one is the exit to the ocean, and the other one is Egypt. And Egypt doesn't want them either.
And Hamas won't let them leave.
And they won't let them leave, right?
Hamas won't let
they
them
need
leave.
human shields, right?
And then what they do is they take pictures of the civilian bodies. Well, their Air Force is hang gliders. That's my understanding.
Yeah, we learned that, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I was playing the video. I could play it now. Hold on. It was I always tell you guys that the story where the EU, all right, donated water pipes to Gaza so that they didn't have to rely on Israel providing them free water, which they've done since 2005, and electricity free since 2005. And these idiots in work, they're like, why do they keep shutting off the electric? And I'm like, well, if their government is constantly firing rockets into their innocent neighborhoods, and the only way they can get them to stop is shut the electric off so that the people bitch and make them stop, what would you do? Right? Well, it turns out that the EU not only donated the big water pipes, but they put them in the ground. Oh, wait till you'll see this. I think I have it here. Yeah, I do. Because I watched it today, as a matter of fact. Here it is. Now, hold on. Let's do this. Wait till you see what they did with it. I'm going to play this. Here we go. Be there in a sec, guys. Okay, here we go. Watch this. There's no sound, but watch what they're doing. They're taking out the water pipes. They pulled them all out of the ground because they don't give a shit about their people in Gaza. And what are they doing? They're making rocket launchers out of them. That's what they're doing, guys. This was a propaganda film that they did. It was done by the Jews. No, they literally said, yeah, it was us. We did it. It's unreal. You believe this shit? Get that nice coat of paint on there.
You know, and it's kind of interesting. They actually don't mind if all of these missiles get picked off by the Iron Dome.
Oh, I know.
Because each interception is like $250,000.
Like a what?
Each interception by the Iron Dome is like $250,000.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
all right. So yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
So if they launch 100 missiles, look what they just cost Israel.
Oh, yeah.
Even if none of them land.
It's just absolutely amazing that how anybody. And then now, see, what happened was the Palestinians have a really good PR firm. They must, because the lies that they've told, like they've convinced half the world that before October 7th that the Israeli IDF was stationed inside Gaza and would just shoot innocent children at will. You know, they weren't there since 2005. They pulled out and said, it's yours. You can have it. Because they were the only country who legally has the right to that land. Legally. Through the League of Nations. Ottoman Empire gave the land to the League of Nations, said, you do something with it. And then they gave it to the Brits and said it's called the Mandate for Palestine for the Jews. And they split the land up. And Gaza was part of what they got.
Yeah, don't get me started. Don't get me started about the UN.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back to it.
How about
what?
I want to talk about people who are trying to cover their ass now.
Okay. Go for it.
I sent you the link.
Yeah. All right. It's in there. Hang on. And what was it?
Yeah, what's his name was one of the gosh, I'm blanking. What's his name? One of the impeachment witnesses,
right,
has now come out and said,
oh, there it is. Got it. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, yeah, this is great. This is actually great. You're right.
This is
right.
This is good. This is good.
One of the impeachment witnesses. Well, no, let's just Let's just let them.
Just pull up the article.
Yeah, I will. Hang on. Gotta present. Share screen. Here we go. Okay. MSNBC, which stands for More Silly Nonsense by Chicks, has shocked as impeachment witness says Trump regained his support. So striking. Gordon Sondland, remember this guy? He was one of the witnesses, right? And
No,
actually,
he was like the huge witness.
But he was the guy who came in and basically said nothing that would have harmed Trump. You remember that? He came in and gave testimony, and everybody was sitting around scratching their heads. But then, during a break, all the Democrats ran out to the cameras. Like, oh, he destroyed Trump. And the Republicans are like, what are you talking? They lied. They lied because he didn't really say anything that would have really harmed him. So Gordon Sondland, who served as then President Trump's ambassador to the EU and who became a star witness against him in his first impeachment, shocked an MSNBC host. He was shocked and stunned by saying Trump won his support again. We should just go to the video. Where's the video? Oh, shit. There's no video?
I think you passed it. Right up at the top.
Right at
Isn't
the top?
that it?
Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you. My goodness. All right, here we go. Ready?
Why was it important for you to say no more Trump because of his January 6th conduct? And do you stand by that?
No, I don't stand by it, and I'll tell you why. I've now lived 4 years under the Biden-Harris policies.
Yep.
And I have to say that those policies are not only becoming an existential threat to our country's way of life, but to our allies as well.
So when you
and
Ambassador, this is I'll let you finish, but this is so striking. You said it was a no for me after that, after January 6th.
I did.
And here we are right now.
I did.
And you're saying it's a yes for you.
It is a yes for me. It is an absolute yes for me. That is how badly the Biden-Harris team have prosecuted their job.
But the whole point you seem to be making was that January 6th and that kind of attack on democracy is bigger than any policy.
But I am seeing so many attacks on democracy that eclipse January 6th.
That pretty much says it, folks.
That pretty much says it all, doesn't it?
I don't have anything to add to that.
I know.
The Biden-Harris regime, so much.
I'm telling you. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. About a year into it, to this regime, I thought, man, there's going to be a lot of comeuppance when it comes to 2024 because they're getting away with all this shit now because they're in charge and they can get away with it. But we now, like back in the 80s, we had nothing as far as media. And then in the 90s, you had Rush that came along, right? He saved AM radio. Rush Limbaugh came out and then just built talk radio, rebuilt it, right? Just because of him alone. And now we've got enough. We have enough conservatives now, like outlets, that, like I said in my video, I don't think a single Republican should ever allow another debate without one of their preferred moderators. I mean, you got Dan Bongino, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin. I mean, you got all these people that could do it. Hell, like I said, I would do a better job than the two clowns at CBS and the ABC clowns too. So they should just say, well, I'm not going to do it. Like, look at Trump now. Trump's saying to 60 Minutes, and they lied. They lied. They said, well, he already confirmed it. No, he didn't. According to his campaign, they said, no, there were some initial discussions, but there was nothing signed. No deal was made. Nothing was locked. So they lied. And Trump said no until they apologized for what they did the last time, because they lied about the Hunter Biden laptop, and they lied about his being spied on, his campaign being spied on.
Yeah, he wants a retraction and an apology.
Who the hell? Hold on. Israel is not the enemy. Stop glorifying Iran and radical terrorists. Who the hell? Who are they? Who is this person? Nelson. Who are you talking about? It's Nelson. It's the first time he came out with a female. Just keep it low, and I won't.
Who's glorifying Who's glorifying Iran and the terrorists?
It's Nelson, because Nelson always has a tell, and the tell here is Nelson's a guy that he's actually like an unofficial producer of HB and Hard Bastard, which I like. I like the guy, not Nelson. I hate Nelson, but I like this guy because Nelson's a chump. But Nelson used to go on my brother's show, and he would say the N-word, and you could get literally booted for saying. So my brother would have to delete his live stream because of it, because he didn't know how to edit it out, right? And so it turns out that Nelson he had this thing where he thought that my brother needed all this chaos to happen on his channel during his shows, and that would bring a lot of people in because the word would go out and all that. My brother didn't want that kind of crap, but he just did it. And so he comes in here, and he always has a tell. The tell this time is that he posted something that everybody who's been here knows that no one was glorifying Iran and radical terrorists. No one. So that's his tell. And I'm going to let him stay, but if he starts being a jackass, I'm going to boot his ass out. So go ahead.
But I have a question for you. If somebody's on live, there is a delay between what we're saying and doing and what goes out. It's like a 20-second delay or something.
I don't know if it's 20 seconds, but you're right.
It's a long time. So
like right now, you're going like this, and I'm going like this.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I said something unacceptable, couldn't you hit the button and it wouldn't show up on the stream?
Nah, there's no cough button. They call it a cough button in radio.
Yeah, you don't have that.
They don't have that. No, I'm sure that if people ask for that, but you can remove something.
Yeah, I mean, they always used to have that in live radio.
Yeah,
all of a sudden you would hear meep.
Yeah. And you would hit it, and some were 7 seconds, and some were like 15 seconds or something, but mostly 7 because believe it or not, dead air on radio costs you money.
Yeah. So I promise not to say the 2 words that'll get us banned.
There you go. All right, thank you. Nelson will. All right. So what were we talking about? Yeah.
We're talking about this guy trying to cover his ass.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if he was a true Trump hater, but he testified against him. And now I think he's come to the realization, like I said to you earlier, number one, the Biden-Harris bullshit is just that bad. Number two, Trump is likely to win. And number three, maybe I want to get on this train. Maybe I want to cover my ass.
Yeah, I think so.
So, but I think everything you said is correct. I mean, even if you accepted, and that's not true, but even if you accepted that Trump said something to try and overthrow the election, what has been done in the past almost 4 years has been such an attack on our Constitution, on our Bill of Rights,
on our wallets, on our families, on our livelihood, everything. Yes.
I mean, it's
the world is in turmoil right now because of this goddamn administration.
Yeah. So even if you accepted that, you should still want them back.
Oh, yeah. The thing is, I always say people vote with their wallets, but what happened with Trump, what happened with Trump was you had every news network did anti-Trump all the time. That's all they did was trash Trump. And so it was so permeated in society that people, I mean, people were telling me I should do a podcast, and I was thinking of doing one. And the podcast, I don't know if you guys are here that were saying if you were busting my balls or because of my voice or something, but I was thinking of doing a podcast on what is it? The Knuckleheads, moveon.org. They sent out an email, I think yesterday, and a friend of mine sent me it. And it was about how Trump is going to claim he won no matter what. and we can't have him trying to steal another election on it. And so, I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, so they think that the Republican, because they always go, and the MAGA people are there to help and steal it. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so they think that we don't believe in elections, okay, so all the shit that they put this man through from the minute he came down the escalator, the Russia bullshit, okay, why was that done? It was done to get enough Americans to think that he was in with the Russians and they won't vote for him. It was to interfere in that election. Then after he got elected anyway, they continued it and did the Mueller probe and all that shit. There were 4 investigations that were done into that, and none of them found anything, right? So why did they do that after he was to get him out of office? Trump never had a peaceful transfer of power. Never. Remember, it was like, what was it, 9 or 12 minutes after he was inaugurated that the Washington Post came out and said, hey, what's up, Special K? What's up, brother? Thank you for being here. What's called? They came out and they did the headline. I'm paraphrasing, saying that the time to impeach Trump has now begun. Right? He was inaugurated like 9 minutes prior to that.
Yeah, and
right?
They're going to do it again.
And they're going to do it again. So that was that. Then they did the 2 impeachments that both of them were horseshit. We know it. The first impeachment, they impeached him for something that Joe Biden actually did. Right? Those 2 impeachments were, again, to interfere in the 2020 election. Right? So then after 2020, and imagine this. After the second impeachment, Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate demanded a Senate trial. And they were like, well, wait a minute. Trump already left office. The remedy is you get thrown out of office. He's already out of it. He left because he was gone. It was after January 20th, right? So we found out later on it was because Schumer, if he was found guilty, which we knew he never would be, but if he was, just on that scant little thing, you got to give it to Democrats. They never give. It could be one Democrat against 400 Republicans. He would fight to the death to get what he wants, right? I'd like to see some of our freaking rhinos do that. But so it was because Schumer wanted to add in an extra penalty of Trump can never run again. So all this horse shit that he had to deal with as president, and I didn't even get into like the 1,000 leaks a week. In the first 2 years, they leaked everything. They leaked it all. They all felonies, all could have gone to jail, but nothing happened to them, right? So what happens? So after that, they leave him alone until Trump says, I'm going to run again. Then the lawfare starts. Well, I'm sorry. They did the January 6th committee, too, to trash his reputation, right? It was the most unconstitutional, most lawless thing I'd ever seen, right? And so then they throw the lawfare at him. Why? So he can't campaign. Put him in prison, right? Why? Because they don't want him to win, right? So when that doesn't work, they get people to fucking shoot at him. Everything that happened to him was because they don't believe in elections.
But
they say that he's going to steal the election. He doesn't believe in elections. They're election deniers.
Yeah, but they accuse him of trying to interfere with an election. Well, guess what?
They've done nothing but.
Yeah.
Since 2015, actually. They've done nothing but. It started when they said he called all Mexicans rapists, when he didn't.
But I have a question for you. Well, actually, first, did you hear Chris Cuomo commenting on the vice presidential candidate debate?
No. Was it good?
No. He actually was saying that Waltz was a doofus and that JD did pretty well. And the point that I remember is he was saying, the moderators were not doing him any justice. He said there was a point, and this is how he said it, there was a point where Vance tried to correct something. And the way Chris said it, he tried to correct something and he was right. Yeah. And the moderator wouldn't let him do it.
Right.
So
I think Fredo is trying to get a better job.
Well, here's my question.
He's on News Nation, right?
He's got his own thing going. Yeah, news. I don't know. Here's my question. Given the comments from Chris Cuomo And given the last story about what's his name, the witness, is it possible that there's a cure for TDS?
Yeah. Oh, did you see my video on that? I'll play it if you guys didn't see it.
Did you do one on a cure for
On
TDS?
TDS. Oh yeah, TDS. Hold on.
Because
I did it. I like it. It's called A Cure for TDS. You ready? Hold on. Let me play it.
I don't know that I've seen that.
I think it's pretty good. Hold on. Here we go. Let me increase it. Oops. Hold on. I got to go in here and then increase it. Here we go. I think this is pretty good myself. And I know you're a dork I know you're a dork if you say your own creation is good, but I always like this. Okay, ready? Here we go.
Are you experiencing uncontrollable fast eye blinking, light palsy, stammering, and overbearing snobbery every time you hear the words, "Make America Great Again"? Are your conversations at dinner turning into debates? Do family gatherings feel like congressional hearings? Do you find yourself engaging in heated conversations with your 6 cats about political policies? Have you been found wild-eyed, naked, frothing at the mouth, and writhing on the floor? Have your friends described blackouts you suffered where you kept staring into space, repeating things like Russian collusion, "He is Hitler," and "Joy Reid was right"? If you said yes to any of these, then you suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. But don't worry, introducing Polycalm, the revolutionary new treatment designed to bring peace back to your household. Crafted by top scientists at RPW Media with a sense of humor and a pinch of irony, Polycalm is clinically proven to reduce symptoms of TDS levels 1 through 5. That's right, no more sudden outbursts at family dinners or knee-jerk unfriending people on social media. No more yelling at people for going into a Walmart through the exit door instead of the welcome side. Polycalm might cause sudden side effects such as extreme agreeableness, an unusual interest in gardening, and a sudden urge to discuss the weather. If you find yourself agreeing to a family game night, consult your recreational therapist immediately. Other side effects include an increased sense of humor, a sudden understanding of different perspectives, and in rare cases, an uncontrollable urge to watch Fox News. Polycalm. Because sometimes we all need a little help to stay sane in a world that seems a bit crazy. Available wherever laughter and open conversations are found. Polycalm is not available in stores and doesn't actually exist. But hey, wouldn't it be great if it did? Until then, liberals remember a little laughter and love of country can go a long way. And stop being a dick. Fact checkers. Polycalm is not a real medication. We're just screwing around. Polycalm is intended for humorous purposes only. Always seek professional advice for serious medical conditions like Trump derangement syndrome.
Just relax, be free of care.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, Rich.
Did you like it?
I thought the treatment for TDS was large doses of truth.
Yeah, well, I invented Polycalm, so
Yeah.
and you heard the side effects. It allows you to become agreeable with people.
Yeah, agreeableness.
Things from the other side.
Yeah.
1-800-LIBTARD. Yeah, do you like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I have to amend. I think that you were too restrictive when you say there's no case over level 7. I think I've seen up to level 11.
Well, you are a medical doctor, so I defer to you.
Yeah, and those are beyond help, of course. Those levels 10 and 11. There's no known. Never mind cure. There's no known treatment for levels 10 and 11.
I know. It's a terrible disease. We should do a GoFundMe. Well, a Give Send Go, because GoFundMe, the people that have TDS would just steal the money.
There you go.
Yeah, they would just steal it.
But large doses of truth and facts. I think that crystal meth.
Crystal meth. I love that, man.
That's pretty cool. So
I was able to get Adam's voice. That voice was Adam, and you hear him in a lot of videos. It's an AI voice, and I was able to get that. So I was real happy with that because I couldn't think of any other voice I would want to use for that video. But the video did all right.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that before.
Oh, I'm surprised. So
what else do you got for us tonight?
Oh, I got a lot. Oh, let me oh, here we go. Here's the one. The boss. The boss. Bruce Springsteen, absolute dickhead, endorses Kamala Harris, Trump, most dangerous candidate in my lifetime. Rock star Bruce Springsteen endorsed Kamala Harris for president this week, referring to former President Donald Trump as the most dangerous candidate in his life. Springsteen, whose net worth is estimated at $1.2 billion, he has never had to worry about missing dinner, right? Or being able to afford gas, right? Recorded his Harris endorsement wearing a flannel shirt, it's supposed to be shirt, and sitting in a diner. I thought this was AI, and I'm like, holy Christ, they made him look like a door, like cold, you know?
Yeah, wasn't he
really
more significant like in the 70s?
Yeah, when people thought that Born in the USA was a pro-American song and not an anti-American song, which is what it is. All right. He's always been a piece of shit, but he got away with it. His songs, like some of them were good, right? But it just wasn't my type of music. Everybody I grew up around, though, fucking loved the guy. And I'm like, what do you see in him? You know, it's like you don't talk about the boss, right?
I'd give him like an okay at best. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if his song came on and it was like in the middle of a dental office, you know,
I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't leave somewhere if his music came on. But
Hungry Heart was a good song, right? But Jesus. So he previously endorsed Barack Obama and Joe Biden in their run for president. So why not Kamala, right? Quote, perhaps not since the Civil War has this great country felt as politically, spiritually, and emotionally divided as it does at this moment. It doesn't have to be this way, right? Because of jackasses like you, boss man, boss woman. I mean, you think about it, they say, well, Donald Trump is a great divider. No. Actually, the libtards are the ones that would mess with him, and he was a counter puncher. Every single time. It was they who created, I mean, think about it. The lies that they told about him over the years. I mean, think about it. CNN made a fucking issue out of the fact that at a presidential dinner, Trump got 2 scoops of ice cream while everybody there only got 1. That was a story.
He's friggin' president.
I shit you not. That was a story. And Trump came out and said, when they asked him about it, he goes, you know, anybody could have asked for an extra scoop. There was no rule, you know, because the presidents have to buy their own food. I don't know if everybody knows that, but when you're president, you have to buy your own food. The American taxpayer will not buy your food for you, and you have to buy your own. So when you have a dinner like that, I believe you have to pay for that. Maybe a state dinner, no, but I mean for your family and all that, you have to buy your own food. So what the hell, right? Plus, Trump had that kind of cash. He wasn't getting a salary, for God's sake. He donated his salary. Right, so Donald Trump is the most dangerous candidate for president in my lifetime. His disdain for the sanctity of our Constitution. Jesus Christ. Is this guy for real? I love people that say that. Donald Trump, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, and I know I'm right. Donald Trump was the most constitutional president of my lifetime. Because every time they asked him to do something that he couldn't, he would say it. He would say, look, the Congress has to make a law. Even when those JOs lied and said that Donald Trump created cages for children, oh my God, not realizing that Obama did it, Bush did it. And why? Because during the Clinton years, there was a judge that said you have to do it. Because the judge, I don't know, it was a stupid idea. He thought that having children in the same cell with their parents, with other adults that they don't know who could become crazy, raging lunatics at any given time could harm the kids, right? So they bitched about it so much that Trump wrote an executive order. And before he signed it, he looked right into all the cameras and he goes, look, I don't know how long this is going to last because this has nothing. I'm just signing it to shut you up. And he said, Congress has to make a law and then I'll sign it. I heard Obama say, well, I can't just create a law and do that. And then later on in his presidency, he said, I have a phone and a pen. Remember that shit? I have a phone and a pen. He did mostly everything by executive order.
Yeah, Obama said, I've got a phone and a pen.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden said before he was the manipulator in chief, he said, Well, you can't do everything by executive action.
He did say that, and then he did everything by executive
And
action.
then he went ahead and did everything by executive action.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand that. An executive order means you are going to execute a power that was given to you by the Constitution or the Congress. Man, we could get into the civics thing because the Congress thinks that they can pass any freaking law they want. They can't. They can't. The enumerated
That's why
powers
we've
gives
got
them,
a constitution.
yeah, the enumerated powers gives them 18 powers. Article 1, Section 8. People should read it, especially liberals. I know you guys that are watching now, you guys are smart. I get that. But there's a lot of liberals that may be watching this that don't realize that 90% of what the federal government does is illegal, not constitutional, but they go, I don't give a shit. You know, because they only have 18 enumerated powers. But the founders said, you know what? Remember that whole 10th Amendment thing, that the powers that are not for the United States belong to the states and the people respectively? Well, they meant that shit. Even if it's a power, like in 1787, the thought of the power to regulate the internet, that belonged to the states. In 1787. You know why? Because even powers that weren't yet thought up belong to the states, because only those 18 belong to the federal government. But they gave them away to take it from the feds. They have to ask permission. It's called an amendment. And you get through the amendment process, but it's so hard. That's what they'll tell you. It's so hard to get an amendment. It is hard. It's hard for a reason.
It was meant
They
to
made
be
it hard intentionally. Yes, they were brilliant. They made it hard. They said, look, it's not impossible. It's going to be hard. You know, and they did that up until a point. Now, did you hear? Oh, Jay, did you hear that they're pushing right now for an amendment, a 28th? No lie. You know what it is?
Well, I know Gavin Newsom was pushing for a 28th Amendment.
Well, no, this is they're talking about it right now. And this amendment, and it makes no sense to me why they're doing it now, but it says that if 100 members of Congress die at the same time, like if there's an attack or something, right, and at least 100 die, that the government can just replace them without going through elections.
I heard that they were doing a, kind of governmental protection or preservation of governmental function.
Right.
I didn't realize they were trying to do it by constitutional amendment.
Oh, is Lou taking off? All right, man. I'll see you tomorrow. Sorry, Lou. I didn't see that.
Bye, Lou.
I can't see what's in the chat when I'm looking at another screen. All right, man. Tomorrow night.
Bye, Lou. Yeah, I didn't realize they were trying to do it.
Well, hold on, Lou. I'm going to your place, and then we'll go. All right, later.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were trying to do it by constitutional amendment. That's news.
Yeah. Well, because the House is doing it. They're Republicans, so.
Well, you know what's really funny, and this is not something anybody should say, but after 9/11.
Right. After what?
The joke was if it would have been somebody flew one of those planes into Congress during a State of the Union address, everybody would have just said, oh, well.
Yeah.
Nobody would have fretted too much.
I got to tell him or else he won't. Boom. There you go. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. People in Congress, rhinos and Democrats, not so much the 35 people that are still there who love the country out of 535. What they do is they do this thing by incrementalism, where they'll say right now, it was like when they did the 16th Amendment, which was never legally ratified. Guys, look it up. It wasn't. All right. Who's being a dick? Stop being a dick. Oh, at the end of it. Yeah. But here you go. So they did it at $1 million and it was only 1%. Why? Because they wanted the American people to get used to the idea that the government was taking money from people who earn money. What? Because you're not supposed to have an income tax, because the founders knew how horrific that was, because they had that in England, right? So over the years, what happened? Now everybody pays income taxes unless you're a liberal and you're at the bottom 25% of wage
I
earners.
thought
Then you pay nothing.
47% of the population didn't pay, effectively did not pay income tax. That's what I was told.
Right,
That's
because
what
you got all those
that's what-
earned income credits and all that.
That's what caught Mitt Romney, because he said that math is a bitch, you know, math
Well,
really,
actually-
mathematics is a bitch.
Yeah.
It's just not going to budge. And he
What
said
happened?
that, and then
Right. Oh, I know.
he had to come back and apologize for mathematics.
I know, but what happened with Romney too? I remember this. Another sidebar. With Romney, I had this itch that just will not go away. What happened with Romney? They said, "Well, Romney didn't pay any taxes." Well, what happens is every year when they do a tax bill, the members of Congress try to get their own in there, their own ideas. So, if a guy from, say, New Jersey, a congressman from New Jersey, and he wants to get affordable housing made. I'm not talking Section 8, but I'm talking affordable housing built in his district. So he can go, hey, I got that built. Yeah, it's me. Vote for me. You live there, you vote for me, right? So what he would do is he would put that into the tax bill, and they would say, if you're an investor and you do buildings, you know, you build shit, and you go in here, we'll give you 5% off on your taxes if you do this. So the incentive is, okay, so the government's going to be a real bitch with the rules, right, of how they have to be built, but I can get past that. I will build this. I will make money off of it because they're not making any money. I'm just building it, and I will either sell it and let other people maintain it and rent it, or I'll rent it myself, but I also get 5%, right? So a lot of people take advantage of that. Those are these so-called tax loopholes that the Democrats bitch about, but they're the ones that put them in there. They think that we're stupid and we don't realize it and go, what's these tax loopholes? So what happens is Romney had the kind of money where he could do 20 of those. What's 20 times 5, people? 100. So he paid no taxes because he followed the law and he did all. So the congressmen were happy. He did things for the people, right? And he got the tax write-offs for it, all legal. Now, I don't like Mitt Romney, even a little bit, but you have to defend him when he needs to be defended, and he needed to be defended for that. The thing is, the Democrats always want to make you look like you're doing something wrong or you're special. He paid no taxes. Well, actually, yeah, because he followed your rules. You know, they do it all the time.
On a tangent, did you hear the complaints about J.D. Vance's beard?
Yeah, it was toxic masculinity. And what did they say about Tampon Tim's eyes?
Oh,
he was intense and passionate.
That was showing some sort of dedication, or
yeah, he was passionate and intense about what he was talking about. No, he was fearful.
Yeah,
he was shitting himself.
When you see the whites all around somebody's eyes, that's But so you're showing off your toxic masculinity to.
Yeah, if you wear a beard.
If you wear a beard.
Well, you know, there's no other candidate that came along showing a beard. So what?
I remember one day I had a woman come into the office, and she was wearing a shirt, something about stop toxic masculinity, something like that.
Yeah.
It took everything I had to not say something.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have to watch myself in the office.
Well, I just actually, I shouldn't say that. It didn't take everything. I just go into my professional mode.
Right.
And I just got to do what I got to do.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Because, but yeah, so anybody with a beard, I guess that's a bad thing these days.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah. You're reminding everybody that you're male. You're just putting it right out there on your face.
Yep.
That you're male. There was a Star Trek New Generation episode where they ran into a culture where they had, I don't know if you are, I don't know if you're into it, but they ran into a culture where they had eliminated all differences between people. So there were no genders.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
And it was actually a crime to think of yourself as like one gender or the other.
Right. And who fell in love with the one woman that was supposed to be a non-gender?
It was Riker.
Riker. Okay.
Riker. Yeah. He fell in love, and this one was confessing that she always felt like she was she always felt like she was a woman, but it's a crime because you're not allowed to feel different than anybody else. I don't know. I see some bearded ladies running around today, and if you call them anything, but what was that? Yeah, what was the guy? Oh God, the nuclear energy disposal guy, the one that
yeah, the bald-headed guy.
Yeah, the one he wore this like garish lipstick and women's clothes, and he stole things from the carousels at airports.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what he stole. I did a couple stories. His name was Sam Brinton, and
Sam Brinton. That was it.
and what he did was he stole women's baggage, expensive like Gucci type baggage.
Yeah,
and you would think he wouldn't have to.
Yeah, and then
you got it.
He did it the second time. They kind of said, "Okay, look, we can't have this. We got to let you go."
Right, they got charged.
Yeah, but the first time they weren't even going to fire him.
Well, I know. But then when he was going to get charged, you would think that Biden would step in, but they probably had a meeting and said, come on, let's let him go. We don't need that.
Talking about Biden stepping in, what's going to happen? Do you think Hunter's actually going to get something like charged? And
well, he said he was not going to pardon him, but that means he's going to.
Well, I mean, whatever that comes out of their mouth is I don't give it any truth. So, right. I mean, your own kid, and you're in a position to pardon him, and you wouldn't. I'm sorry. Your own kid, I think most people would actually do that, even if they had to resign after they did it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is your kid. So,
I know.
You know what I think would really be funny?
What's that?
I'd like to see Trump maybe give him a pardon. Don't you think that would be?
What I would do? I would say, look, if you testify against your father, I'll pardon you. If you testify against the big guy, I'll pardon you.
If you stand up there and confirm who is the big guy, you're out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll let you go if you confirm who the big guy is.
Yeah.
And let me play this Natalie Winters. There's a video where this is about, Jack Smith came out today or this week, and he slammed Trump with those other charges. And Chutka, who really isn't a judge, she's just a hacktivist playing a judge. She went with it. And the reason why is because I did the video this week about all the October surprises that are just slamming Kamala. I mean, think about her husband, the story of the bitch slapping, right? I heard she bitch slapped him back, the woman. Right, and said, "Don't you ever do that again." But and then the fact that Philadelphia, that there's like thousands of Philadelphian Democrats that are going, nope, not voting for Trump. And in Philly, my old homestead. And then what was the third thing? There was a third one. Well, the slamming of the Southern red states with Helene, and then how they're incompetent there. And there was another one I can't remember. So they had to come out with something. So they said, okay, here's what we're going to do. So let me play this. She's right, too.
And here's the best part. Speaker Johnson hasn't said anything about Jack Smith's filing. You know who else hasn't? The Weaponization Committee.
Right. They haven't said shit.
Probably the most egregious example of government weaponization in history. To call it election interference is an understatement.
You're right.
Speaker Johnson is nowhere to be found. Jim Jordan, no statements, nothing.
Yeah, they will now.
And they're going to say, oh, well, we're on vacation. Well, the country's burning, Speaker Johnson. And by the way, I noticed that all those members of Congress, they certainly had time to tweet that they stand with Israel. Well, maybe it's about time that you tweet and actually do something that has to do with standing with Trump. Because they don't understand what this is all about. And frankly, they're in on it.
I think so, too.
And what this is it's essentially a purge of the Republican Party to rid it of its most MAGA elements.
Yep.
Now, I want to play these clips from MSNBC where they...
Well, that's it. It's over. But, yeah, I agree with her.
Yeah, she's right.
I agree with her. Yeah.
Where's Speaker Johnson?
Well, they're all saying, well, we're on vacation right now. We don't have a legal leg to stand on. They could be at a freaking microphone.
Listen,
They could be talking to a microphone.
when my father was 21 years old, he went and signed up and he became a cop. And he always told me that he was a cop 24/7, 365.
Right.
For 27 and a half years.
Yep.
You would think that somebody who has more responsibility than a police officer would be able to maybe put themselves on the line for that.
Yeah.
You know, incoming nukes. Oh, we're on vacation.
Yeah.
What? You people, no, I don't buy it.
Well,
Not even for a second.
Well, they're saying that because Jack Smith acted now. Now, you understand Jack Smith acted now because of that, because they were on vacation. Just I talked about this before, but there may be people not listening. The reason why they chose Jack Smith, do you remember what I told you? Because when all right, Jack Smith was a U.S. attorney in New Orleans. Okay, well, actually, he was an deputy assistant U.S. attorney in New Orleans. And the U.S. attorney was retiring. And normally, when the U.S. attorney retires, they bump up the deputy assistant U.S. attorney. They bump that person up to the U.S. attorney position. But the president at the time did not give him the bump and found someone else. And that president was Donald Trump. And the reason why he didn't give it to him is because he knew Jack Smith was a scumbag and was not a fair prosecutor. He's the guy that was overturned 9-0 by the U.S. Supreme Court when he went after a Republican. He fabricated evidence, withheld exculpatory evidence, violation of the Brady law, and he did all kinds of criminal things. And every single SCOTUS voted against it. You can't get those people to decide what to have for lunch.
9-0.
And yet 9-0. So he resigned in disgrace. Well, not in disgrace, in anger. He resigned out of anger from his position, and he went over to work at The Hague. And so they knew that he hated Donald Trump for that, and they knew that he would do anything, including going outside the rules of the DOJ, and plus he was unconstitutionally appointed as well. He was unconstitutional. No matter what he comes up with, the Supreme Court will throw it out because he was unconstitutionally appointed. So that is your special prosecutor going after Trump.
It's the same reason Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland blames Trump for him not being on the Supreme Court.
Right. Exactly. And thank God. I will never like Mitch McConnell, but
thank God
see that,
for this
that tiny little sliver. That's how much I love him, because he kept him off.
One thing.
Yeah, one. He kept that jackass off the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Even
Can you
somebody
imagine?
like Mitch McConnell.
I think Ketanji Brown Jackson already has a better voting record than he would.
Oh.
He is such an ideologue. It's unreal.
I mean,
ideologue.
What Constitution?
Yeah, exactly. What Constitution? Right.
I'm on the Supreme Court. We interpret the Constitution. I'll tell you what's the Constitution.
I got something cool that you guys might want to see. Donald Trump singing the Green Acres song.
Oh, is this real?
Yes, it is. It's absolutely. It was in 2005. It's absolutely real.
This is real?
Yeah, it's real. Yes, it is.
Oh my God.
Absolutely real. Watch this.
This is funny, guys.
The theme from Green Acres. Please welcome Donald Trump and Will and Grace's Karen Walker.
I like Karen Walker too. Watch this. This is awesome.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living is the life for me.
Imagine.
Land spreading out so far and wide.
He's laughing at him.
Cheap and hot, just give me that countryside.
She doesn't talk that way, by the way.
Just the door, penthouse view.
are my wife. Sweet as we are there.
How cool was that?
You know, when I saw that, it was like, is this real or is this some sort of stand-in for him?
Yeah, I know. It looked like AI at first, and I'm like, no, it was 2005.
Yeah, I thought it was AI.
Yeah.
I
No, it was
thought it was AI
2005
for
though.
sure.
I thought that was kind of cool though to see him like that.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it was funny, and it was good. And she didn't hate him then. Let's see.
Got any other good stories?
Yeah, hold on. We got a couple. White dudes for Harris takes a really creepy turn, and then gets burned. Yeah, this is great.
So
where's the video?
You need to justify your status as a white man by voting for Harris.
Yeah, let me see if this is it. Hold on. Charlie Kirk. Yeah, this is it. Oh, this is great. So, and you know, they're all like, oh my God, why did they have to show that? Where do you see this? This is great. This is Revolver, who I'm starting to like a lot more. I say that every week. White dudes for Harris takes a really creepy turn and then gets burned. So the White Dudes for Harris movement started off weird, but now we're venturing into some seriously creepy territory. It's as if the uber effeminate men like Adam Kinzinger and Stephen Colbert have bailed out, and now the dudes backing Ms. Harris are wearing more lip gloss and mascara than Ms. America. Case in point, this guy in a dress, it's a guy in a dress that this reporter is going to talk to, right? This guy in a dress calls himself Rose and was interviewed by MSNBC right before the VP debate. Is your typical dude for Harris, except his prediction for Tampon Tim's performance turned out to be the biggest burn of the night. Let me share this tab instead, and we'll bring it.
You're the president of College Democrats.
Yep. That's
how you feeling about the enthusiasm? Your name and how you feeling?
My name is Rose, and I'm feeling great. This is going to be a great debate. Oh, sorry, I touched you there. I'm so enthusiastic. Walls is going to do so well.
All right, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. I really appreciate talking to you guys, Rachel. They got me the College Democrats.
Now, can you believe that shit? And they're like, "Oh God, oh no, they had to show that."
Wouldn't you?
Kill that man. What's that?
I'd date him, wouldn't you?
Kill that man. I can hear that coming out now.
Okay, and by the way, I was just kidding. I wouldn't date him.
Yeah, I know.
I don't care. Coming out with, there's some things that are universal, male, female. The mouth on that one, right. Coming out with those thoughts, just like that. I don't know.
I got this one for you.
2 sentences that he said or she said or whatever it was. I get the feeling that there's like this large vacuum in between the ears.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing significant going on in there that wasn't planted by MSNBC.
Oh, I know. Let me do this. Ready? So on X today, just vent, total lefty, libnut. Why did Republicans vote against funding FEMA? Right? And then he has all this crap and all these people. Republicans spend 100% of their day training MAGA to hate Democrats when it's Republicans who are defunding FEMA. And so this whole conversation went, but then this guy named Rich came along. Tooting my own horn. I know I'm a dork for doing it, but I had to show you. So I wrote, first off, the lefties' rhetoric is making it seem like it was a FEMA bill. Because they're all out there saying, they're the reason why there's no money for these poor people down in the red district. What's the name of it? I can't remember. Who cares? Mayorkas, here's the title. Mayorkas lure, well, it says they are lying. It was not. It was a continuing resolution is what it was. And the FEMA was in there, right? Mayorkas warns FEMA lacks funding for hurricane cleanup after agency spent over $1 billion on migrants. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas warned Wednesday that the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which has spent more than $1 billion on services for illegal immigrants over the past year, now has insufficient funds to last through the hurricane season. Congress recently provided $20 billion for FEMA's disaster relief fund as part of a short-term government spending bill to fund the government through mid-December. The federal government is sending additional aid. I sent these from sources, and I put the links there so they can look them up, which is why nobody has replied, right? So as the federal government is sending additional aid to North Carolina for its recovery after President Biden said in an emergency operations briefing, who cares what Biden said? So here's the next one. What made the cut in Congress's plan to avert a shutdown and what didn't? So in other words, the point is that the Republicans put they had 20 billion in there, but they had to pull out 10 to satisfy the Democrats. So who really cut it? The 3-month stopgap excludes $10 billion in additional funding for FEMA disaster relief that was previously included in House Republicans' initial 6-month plan. But it does allow the agency to use the fund's resources faster for disaster response for the roughly 3-month span. So we made a joint decision to address, because it's going to be a 2.5-month CR, the disaster side with no additional disaster money, the aide said on Sunday, although they noted that there is still disaster money in the bill in the form of the disaster relief fund within FEMA being replenished as soon as the CR becomes law. The aides said the amount is more than adequate for the 2.5-month period and that further conversations will continue, right? It says maybe, and I wrote, maybe, this is all me, maybe if Biden-Harris's FEMA didn't spend over $1 billion on illegal migrants that they think of as unregistered Democrats, they would have money to spend on U.S. citizens whose tax dollars funded them. Slam. And nobody responded. How about that? Do you have to go somewhere? Because you.
Not yet. Soon.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to run out.
Oh, okay.
I run out of steam. See, my ass gets tired on this chair.
I thought you were taking some ibuprofen.
Well, you know, vitamin I. You get to a certain age in life, vitamin I.
Great. They tried to justify this. Had, Karine Jean-Pierre tried to justify it. Ready? American hurricane victims suffer and die. Joe and Jill catch some rays on the beach. Can you believe this shit? Remember, here you go. Remember when Katrina hit and the left all said, "Oh, George Bush, he wasn't even down there. He didn't care about those people. He did a flyby." Well, he did a flyby in Air Force One because he knew that if he landed down there to go there and do a photo op, that it would have shut down highways because the president's coming. They have all these security, and Secret Service would have said, "Hey, you cops, block that there. You block that. Nobody in." And the efforts would have been harmed. So he flew over just to get a look at the area. And in fact, what a lot of people don't know is that he called Governor Blanco. I know her name's Blanco, but I call her Blanco. She was governor at the time, Democrat. And he said to her on the phone, he was on Air Force One, and he called her and he goes, "You realize, Governor, you have a Category 5 hurricane coming your way. And I really think you should start, evacuations now." And she said, "Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President. We'll take it under advisement." And she waited 2 more days. Now, their answer to that was, well, you know how many times we get word that a Category 3 up to 5 is heading our way, and we go through all the emergency things, and it costs us millions of dollars to get the city moving, and we get people out, and then it shifts at the last minute. That was her asinine response to that. And then you had, what was his name? Was it Ray Nagin? I don't remember that. Yeah, it was the mayor of New Orleans who took off. He took his kids and he took off and went to Mississippi and stayed there. He ran away. Then they had what was it like? It was a whole yard of buses, school buses, like 100 of them. And they had practiced this drill in New Orleans that if a levee broke or if there was a hurricane or something, that all the people that were supposed to drive those buses were heading over there to get those buses. They had neighborhoods they were supposed to go to. People were going to get on. Well, all those bus drivers, they ran like hell and took off. The people that were supposed to do it. So there was this kid who was 16 years old who ran into one of the buses, and they always leave the keys. He climbed the fence, got into the bus, and floored it through the gate, smashed the gate open, and drove to his neighborhood and told his family, "Get in, we're getting out of here." And he waited for everybody in the neighborhood to get in, and he drove them out, and they tried to arrest him later on. He saved all these people because their homes were all flooded afterwards. And he's the only one, a 16-year-old kid, the only one that had common sense to do something like that.
So I got a question for you.
Sure.
Go back to the picture.
Yeah.
So Joe's on the phone there. I want to know, is he getting his briefing on the hurricane, or is he on the phone to the bank in Ukraine?
I think what he's really doing is he's listening to a podcast on Matlock.
That could be, I suppose.
Because he missed his Matlock rerun because he's on the beach. And so I think what he's doing is he's actually listening to Matlock podcast. What's happening in Florida, Tennessee, and hardest hit North Carolina is horrific. But what makes this biblical level storm, they said that because one of the guys that was describing goes, this is biblical, what's going on here. Even worse is Harris-Biden regimes. I love how everybody's calling it Harris-Biden, because that's what I told my guy that writes for me. I told him Harris-Biden from now on. Regime cold, indifferent reaction. While Americans suffer, die, and fight to survive, Joe and Jill Biden are lounging on a beach, soaking up rays. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris, the woman running for president without earning a single primary vote, and they stole it from him, is busy schmoozing with donors to fund her flailing campaign. It's a complete and utter disgrace. Your government hates you, Jack Posobiec. He was a One American News guy. He was the guy, as a matter of fact, that explained, I can't find the video anywhere, but he explained in a video as an OAN guy, because he doesn't work there anymore. He completely debunked the QAnon shit. Because I used to think that shit was real, like in the beginning and like the first year. It was all bullshit. And he's the guy that he named the names. Like there were two guys that created it. They thought that they could do it and then make money by selling merch, but they never got there because it became so big. They didn't want to get discovered who they were, so they just kept doing it. And then they sold it. Believe it or not, they sold the franchise, if you will, to a hedge fund manager who wanted to do the same thing, and then he lost money. But that's all it was. And people go, no, it wasn't. He was right on a lot of things. Yeah, you can have a 50-50 shot of being right or wrong, and you'll be right on a lot, right? So it's becoming impossible to get a clear picture of what's really happening, thanks to Mayor Pete Buttplug, who's now making it even harder for citizens to rescue those stranded or know where to deliver supplies. Let's see what he says. Are you effing me? U.S. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg tells Americans to stop using drones. This is unbelievable.
Our goal is to make sure that funding is no obstacle to very quickly getting people the relief that they need and deserve.
You believe
There's
this?
also some safety issues that come up. For example, temporary flight restrictions to make sure that the airspace is clear for any.
When somebody goes, so that what he's doing is he's giving his brain. Kamala does this a lot. He's giving his brain some time to come up with a better answer.
Flights or drone activity that might be involved in helping to allow those emergency responders to do their job. Our goal.
What a loser! What a freaking loser! This is a calculated effort to cover up the truth for political reasons, plain and simple. In a serious country, this would be labeled exactly what it is: treason. But instead, we're watching the powers that be manipulate, censor, and bury the facts to protect their own interests with zero accountability. The person's right. The writer's right. And as for Joe, well, he finally brushed the sand off his feet and flew over the devastation. But his pointless photo op only made things worse. Here we go. Congressman amplifying what I've heard from civilian rescue pilots and aid workers trying to save lives. Oh, we got to hear this.
The other thing is that yesterday, for President Biden's, dog and pony show to come in and see photos, he put a 30-mile TFR, which is basically a restriction in the air zone, which means that he actually stopped from 12 o'clock until 1604 p.m. He stopped air traffic and helos from transferring supplies, dropping SAR teams, picking up individuals.
Also, he could get a photo op.
So that was not only irresponsible, but if you're going to come a week later, at least make sure that you're not trying to, hinder in any way further the actual operations that are being led by civilian organizations and veterans such as myself and others that are trying to do what is right. And so I found the entire response so far to be not just lacking, but irresponsible and inept.
It's just unbelievable what this guy does. I mean, you have to think to yourself, Jade, tell me if I'm right. You have to think to yourself, they can't be this stupid, can they?
You know, there's an old saying: never attribute to malice what can be adequately explained by stupidity.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think it's malice aforethought.
Yep.
And a whole attitude of everybody's not as good as us elites.
That's what I said in the beginning. Remember? That's what I said
That's
in the
what we
video
talked
too.
about earlier.
Yeah.
It's not we, it's us and them, and it's not even us and them, it's us versus them.
They believe that they belong where they are.
Yeah.
Because just ask them, they'll tell you. They believe that they should be in their lofty positions, right? Their high towers right now, and that they look down on everybody who's like working class people, middle class people.
Yeah, well, there's three classes. There's them, us, or we, the executive, and then there's the little people that vote for them, and they're okay.
Yeah.
And then there's the little people that don't vote for them, and they would like to see them all thrown in jail or buried at sea or whatever.
Or become dependent on them for votes.
Well, no, that's their whole goal. They want the population to be
dependent on
afraid and dependent.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And that's why they want to disarm us. That's why they want to let the crime go crazy.
So much malfeasance by this goddamn regime. I mean, the things that they've done, and you sit back and you go, wait a minute, why did they do that? I mean, just pick your crisis.
You cannot possibly, if you can put words enough together to make a sentence, if you have an IQ above room temperature, you cannot possibly be stupid enough to believe some of the crap that they put out and the way they act. See you later, Jeremiah. Come back next week. So yeah, I say malice aforethought.
Oh yeah.
And bad assumptions because they think we're all stupid.
Oh, I know. They do. They do. They look down on anybody that is not at their stature, and like I said earlier, then they're apathetic. Like they look at you like you're a cockroach if you are working middle class and you vote red.
What's really funny is you get somebody like, I don't know, who was a bartender maybe, and who has, I don't know, a junior degree in economics.
Yeah.
And somehow that individual gets elevated and is now part of the in crowd. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh, of course. Alexandria Ocasio-Nina Pinta Santa Maria Cortez. Yes.
So,
just spoke to a friend of mine in law enforcement in North Carolina. He said that they have, and I quote, already used over 500 body bags, and there are bodies in trees, mud, cars, houses, everywhere. There was one, they were in the sewer culverts, couldn't get out because the water just kept pressuring them down, trying to get out, and they just found them dead. No Fed support whatsoever. DC Drano, if you don't follow this guy, follow him. He's really good. This is Walmart in Asheville, North Carolina. Now, they're not going to go to Walmart, the Feds. Empty shelves, long lines, and FEMA is barely helping because they're low on money after spending nearly $1 billion on illegals, right? Let me see this. Look at this. See the guy give the finger?
I can't understand anything he's saying.
Oh, he's saying he was asking them to be patient, that everybody will be seen, and he said, anybody that's here for a prescription only, come up here now. In other words, the whole point of that scene was to show that people are standing in line. It's like COVID without the mask. They're standing in line waiting to get in because FEMA's not coming up with anything. Look at this, all empty.
Didn't make it for the milk.
Jesus. Get your toilet paper, guys.
Wednesday, October 2nd.
Look at that.
You know, that's one thing about living in the Front Range here, which is what they call this area.
Yeah. I have a girlfriend who
There's-
lives in Nashville. I hope she's all right. I should call her.
Yeah, living in this area, we actually are very lucky. We don't have
Me too.
any real
All right, Bobbity. We'll talk to you later, man. Have a good one.
see you, Bobbity.
Thanks for coming.
We don't-
Hit the like
we
button
don't-
before you leave. Everybody, please hit the like button. It does help.
Yep. We don't have any infrastructure compromising. We don't get hurricanes.
Right.
We don't get earthquakes.
Right. We don't
you
either.
know, every now and then we'll get a tornado, and it takes, it drops down, takes out a couple of houses, and that's not a nice thing.
Yeah, we don't even get those.
It's not infrastructure compromising. We just don't get something.
Yeah, we don't either where I am. I'm like 10 miles outside of Philadelphia, and
I
we
mean,
don't get that.
even the snowstorms. I remember the big disastrous snowstorm. What was it? I don't know. 20 years ago now. I forget what year. 20 years ago. 38 inches within 48 hours.
Yeah, the only real natural disaster that we have all the time in my area, and I mean all the time, are Democrats. That's
Well,
about
yeah,
it.
there is that.
Yeah,
but
that's about that. Just that.
we have that in
We
Colorado.
don't really get hit with
as well.
anything. We're
No,
lucky.
but what I was going to say, this is important. What I was going to say, that 38 inches came in on the weekend. And I mean, there were people who parts of their roofs were collapsing. We were, the streets were clear, and we were able to, like, 3-4 days, we were back going.
Wow.
I mean, 38 inches of snow. I forget. I think it was
A lot of
within
snow.
48 hours. And we were back. People were able to drive to work, like 3-4 days. I think there was a couple of snow days in there, but obviously that was a big thing. That's a lot of snow, let me tell you.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm
That's
sure.
a lot of snow. If any of you out there have not lived through a major snowstorm like that,
Yeah.
would get that
We had
much
30
snow.
inches once. We had 30 inches one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, so you've seen it.
Yeah, we were digging holes across tunnels across the street. And you
Yeah.
know when that was? I was like 8 years old, and it was in May. In May.
Well,
Where I am in May, it's hot.
I'm used to that kind of stuff because I'm originally from the Northeast. So
Right.
for me, snow would fall in November. It's still there in April.
Yeah. Meanwhile, watch that.
Whole house, whole house.
A house.
Oh my God.
Look at that. Someone's house floating down. See that? A whole house. Imagine that being your home, where you raised your children. And you're watching it.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you my phone. Do you want it now?
That's just unbelievable what they're going through, man. It's unreal.
What else we got?
Hurricane, tornado, house fire, the earthquake. We had an earthquake a few years back. Remember that started in Virginia and came up? You remember that? We felt it. I was like, whoa, what the hell was that?
I didn't feel it.
Our whole building shook, and I was in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, and it started down in Virginia. I can't imagine what they were like down there, but we felt the
I
whole
remember I was up in the Northeast, and there was a hurricane, and I made up it was pretty good story. I told that, there I was, and okay, so we were together, and then the earth moved.
Yeah. The earth moved?
The earth moved. Yeah, you know what I'm talking.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what I'm getting at.
Yes.
You don't make me say it.
I'm not going to. All right, here's one. Get this. Thanks to FEMA, guys, Mules are navigating North Carolina's impassable roads to bring supplies to communities cut off by Hurricane Helene. And I believe since this article was written, they're telling them, stop it. They are capable and willing to work in many conditions most won't. A team of mules is helping deliver much-needed aid to North Carolina residents stranded by the devastating effects of Hurricane Helene. With hundreds of roads still impassable due to storm damage and flood debris, Mount Ula-based Mountain Mule Packer Ranch is using their beloved pack mules to bring supplies to areas not accessible by vehicle. Why? Because they're Americans. That's what we do. Quote, they call them beasts of burden. We call them our beloved mules, the company wrote on Facebook Monday. They are capable and willing to work in many conditions most won't. They are not stubborn. They are wise and require respect. That's all right. Owner Mike Toberer told the Associated Press that his mules have been delivering food, water, and diapers to the western part of the state. The state's hard-to-reach mountainous areas, while traditional aid groups are struggling to reach these communities. It's pretty smart. If you, that or ATVs, right, with the wagon tied onto it. His team of four-legged athletes is uniquely suited to help. We'll take our chainsaws and we'll push those mules through, he said. Wow. 200 pounds of supplies. You.
So there's an unconfirmed report. I just heard it on the Hard Bastard.
Jimmy from Philly, everybody.
That,
hey, Jimmy.
Hey, how you doing? There's an unconfirmed report that the state police are now forcing the roadblocks by FEMA. They're clearing them, and they're going to arrest any federal employee that blocks people from going in to give aid.
Good.
That's unconfirmed, though, but he just
Jimmy,
said
are you
it.
sure you're from Philly? You said, "How you doing?"
How you doing? Yeah.
Sounded like New Jersey to me.
Well, you know what?
Same thing.
We grew up in Philly, and everybody said, you got a Philadelphia accent. And I'm like, what the hell is a Philly accent?
Yeah.
I've heard other accents, but I don't know. What's a Philly? Well, they said, we speak very quickly when we talk.
Yeah, that sounded like New Jersey to me.
Yeah, New Jersey. How you doing?
How you doing?
Well, that's more South Philly, which is close to Jersey. So
okay.
Yeah. He's in South Philly now, so he has to blend in. So they're actually going to arrest the feds. How about that?
That's unconfirmed, though. That's
now. Let me say that they're state troopers. Is that what you're saying? All right, because maybe some places I know they only have state troopers. They don't have local police, but the sheriff in a county, and this is in all of America, a sheriff is the #1 law enforcement officer in his county. A foot outside his county, he ain't shit. In his county, he's it. He has more authority than the president of the United States in his county as a law enforcement officer. That's a fact. That's why all those sheriffs, when the Brady bill came out, said, go fuck yourself. We're not doing that. And they had a huff and puff, and they go, and the judge said, well, you know what? They're right. They don't have to. They are the law in their county. So if the sheriff said arrest them, I mean, a sheriff may have deputized the staties. Who knows?
But I think the staties can do it under the authority of the governor.
Yeah, because that's where it gets a little hairy, because normally the federal government cannot come in unless they're asked to come, including FEMA. Now they may have changed it since since Katrina, because the story was they said, why didn't George Bush come in? Because he sat there and he called Governor Blanco several times and said, we're right here. We're ready to go. We got to wait for you to say it. And then she finally asked, and he waited for days. But the thing is that they can't just go barreling in. They have to be asked, hey, can you guys come in here? We need you.
There's limited circumstances, like federal crimes, they can go in to investigate.
Well, yeah, but you
can't stop them from doing that. Very limited circumstances.
Yeah, but they can't. Right. That's correct. Like when ICE goes in to a jurisdiction in a sanctuary city to go arrest an illegal criminal, and the sanctuary city protects the guy.
They don't have to cooperate, but they can't stop them. Right. Like if they go in after a counterfeiting ring, That's a federal crime. You can't stop them going in.
Right. Well, the other thing, what the hell was it? Remember there was a judge in Boston. I think it was in Boston. And she had an illegal in her court. And she knew that there were 2 ICE officers right outside the courtroom. And when he came out, they were going to arrest him. So she let him leave through her chambers. The next thing you know, she's crying and has her hands cuffed behind her because the Trump administration said, get her. She just broke the law because the Trump DOJ was just sick and tired of these sanctuary city bullshit. Because think about this. When Arizona, it was Governor Jan Brewster, Jan Brewer. She was the governor of Arizona, okay? And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in Phoenix, Arizona is the #2 place in the world for kidnappings. Okay, it's Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, it's because the drug cartels, they give the guy the bag and they go, okay, you come back with the money or the drug, the product, or we kill your family. So when they get here, other drug gangs, they steal it. So in order to come up with, say, it's like 300,000, they got to come back with, right? So they'll kidnap 3 people and ask for 100,000 each. That's what happens, right? So Brewer had enough of it, and she said to Obama, "We need you to bring more border patrol here because they're just walking past, our people's homes with a bag and an AK-47, whatever they're carrying, right?" And he told them, "We just don't have the manpower to go out and grab all these people." So the state legislature of Arizona created a bill and she signed it. And what it said was that Arizona local law enforcement were allowed to arrest illegal aliens and take them right over to the federal building and go, "Here you go. You're welcome." And Obama came out and sued the state for that. And he basically argued, this is where I'm going. He basically argued saying that only the federal government has jurisdiction over that. And he was right. Because Article 1, Section 8, the enumerated powers, says that the Congress has the right to create an uniform rule of naturalization. So the Congress has the right. But a state in a time of war, like we're invaded right now. So Texas is in a state of war, okay? And legally, you can argue that. And he has the right to defend his own and protect his own border. But in Arizona, I remember when Obama said about it, he said, well, you could be a legal family of Hispanic origin sitting outside having ice cream with your children, and a police officer can just come up and ask you for papers. Well, that's not true because the law did not say that. The law said, like the seatbelt law, if you have seatbelt laws, the law said you have to have done something else for them to ask you what your status is. So if you're speeding down the road and they pull you over for speeding, they could say, "Can I see a driver's license?" And in the law, it actually said as soon as they hand you the license, it's over. You cannot ask them for status because they've proven that they are a legal resident, right? That's before the Democrats started giving out licenses to illegal aliens so they could vote. So what happened is he said, all that, he couldn't do it. Well, this is the same thing what we were just talking about. It's like the sanctuary cities, they said, well, we're going to do this as a middle finger, the double barrel middle finger to Trump because he wants to stop people. Well, guess what? You can't have it both ways. You can't, as a Democrat, argue, well, in Arizona, you can't do that because that's a state and the feds only have jurisdiction. But then in every goddamn Democrat city in the country, you become a sanctuary city. You can't do that because you don't have, remember, Article 1, Section 8 and uniform rule of naturalization, right? So you can't just arbitrarily say, well, now we're going to turn it on, then we're going to turn it off. F you cannot. You can't do that. Which is why it was ridiculous, and that's why they arrested the judge. They've since let her go. But they did arrest her, and they booked her. And they were going to charge her, but I don't think a DA, I don't think any assistant DA would take that case.
Yeah, well, they beat down Missouri's, they beat down Missouri's Second Amendment preservation law.
What happened?
Well, this is a year ago or more. The Missouri had a Second Amendment Preservation Act, and I think that's what it was called. It was called the SAPA, and the Fed sued, and it was brought down. They couldn't do it. They busted them down.
I forgot I was live. I turned the light out, went to lay down.
Oh, to go to bed? Oh, all right.
Yeah, I was wondering what was happening, Jimmy.
I thought you were going to have a cigarette outside.
No, I was just going to lay down, but I forgot that I was.
Would you work today?
No.
Oh.
No.
All right.
Jimmy, you got to quit smoking.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you should. 2006 for me. My lung feels great.
So, what else you got on the story list?
Yeah, I got a couple more goodies. Let's see.
I'm up for a couple more. I'm running low on energy here.
Here you go. Oh, this one will burn your bagel if they still have it, because it's coming up real slow. There we are. The post millennial. Put this one up. You ready? Ready for this, guys? Here we go. MS-13 gang member illegal alien allowed to enroll in Maryland high school while facing charges for murder of 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton. What? An illegal immigrant who was a member of the notorious MS-13 gang, those guys are ruthless from what I hear, was allowed to enroll in a Maryland high school while accused of murdering a 20-year-old woman. He's an illegal. Don't put him in. Why are they putting illegals in school? Put him on a school bus and kick him the hell out. Walter Martinez was charged and convicted of killing Kayla Hamilton on July 27, 2022. While awaiting trial, he was allowed to attend school. When I start from the very beginning and get to the very end, they're like, wow, this is a really crazy story, the victim's mother, Tammy Nobles, told the station's Project Baltimore. And I say it is a crazy story, but it's a true story. It's the worst pain that a parent can ever get. I can't imagine. How long is this?
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best.
Nah, you guys can watch it later on because it's 9 minutes. Martinez was then a 16-year-old illegal immigrant and an MS-13 gang member. He was convicted of brutally slaying Hamilton and was sentenced to 70 years in prison, but they let him go to school. She was just found with a cord wrapped around her neck and her mouth.
Damn.
Then just left her on the floor like trash, Noble said, the mother. Martinez was always the prime suspect, but it took 6 months to process his DNA results. Can you believe this shit? 6 months for the labs to do it. That's how many crimes there are. But I think they should take murder and bump them up, don't you think? DNA results and link that to the crime scene. During that time, Martinez was going to Edgewood High School in Harford County. So they allow a murderer, a guy suspected of murder, to go to a high school where he can murder any one of the other kids, right? Reporter Chris Pabst Beer, posted, Fox 45 can confirm the school was not told by any investigating agency. You hear this? Martinez was an MS-13 gang member and murder suspect. Now, why do you think they wouldn't want to tell him? Because it was Maryland? He was allowed to enter the school with 1,400 other students. No one at the school knew. That's just unbelievable. While awaiting trial, Martinez admitted to 4 murders and 2 rapes. Yeah, if you're going to go out, you might as well go out with a bang, right? Local prosecutors believe the other murderers happened in his home country of El Salvador, one of the most violent places on the planet. Martinez was pegged as the likely culprit from the day that Hamilton was found dead. Aberdeen police detained the suspect and questioned him, the outlet reported. The cops had surveillance video of Martinez at the scene of the crime. The police even read the chief suspect his Miranda rights. They knew he was guilty. They just needed that DNA to really lock it in. The mother said, holy crap. Now, if because it was a slowdown of doing DNA results for a murder suspect, what if he killed someone else? Oh, it'd have to go to that DNA lab.
Yeah,
When the
I mean, you have to be careful about the accused because, you know, we're supposedly innocent till proven guilty. But the fact,
unless you're a Democrat or Donald Trump, or I mean a
well,
Republican
yeah,
and Donald Trump, you know,
there is that. But the fact that he's an MS-13 gang member and you're
Guilty.
not telling anybody, and that is, you know, that's awful. But it's an interesting story because what's his name, Bolsonaro in El Salvador, that took over. I believe he has cut the murder rate in half.
Right.
And you know how he's done that?
He sent them here.
Well, no,
Bolsonaro?
he
Did they get rid of
built-
him?
No, that you're thinking of Mexico and Venezuela, mostly Venezuela, but
Right.
Bolsonaro, to criticism from a whole lot of human rights people, built like a couple of massive prisons,
Yeah.
and we're not talking. We're
I
not
heard
talking.
that.
Yeah, we're not talking about country club prisons here.
I think they wear pink underwear. They have to wear pink underwear, and when they walk, they're chained to each other.
Yeah, and
he
they
has
walk in a line, and they have to walk bent over. So
Yep,
they can-
he ain't messing with anybody.
He ain't messing.
Yeah,
And the murder
I heard
rate
about
is-
that.
The murder rate is like half. And did you know that a third of the murders committed in the world are in Latin America?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I found that interesting.
Came from Latin America. The communist Pope Francis.
Yeah, that's true.
Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina. Yeah, and I believe they did a similar thing in Brazil. They started to get tough, and then of course there's Javier Milei in Argentina. He's in Argentina, I think, and yeah, he's.
I muted you, Jim, till you're done.
What's that now?
What's up?
He unmuted himself.
Okay, but yeah, Bolsonaro is really
say that again.
Kicking him around because
Mike's.
He's not muted.
I know. I don't know why he keeps doing that. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Anyway, I just thought I would throw that in there because we were talking about him. Oh, he is muted now. Good.
Well, I keep muting him, and either it's unmuting him or he's unmuting himself. Okay.
There he goes.
Back now? Or are you still talking? Jim? I don't know what he's doing.
No, he put himself muted.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Yeah, so go ahead.
So yeah, I think it's pretty impressive. I mean, like you got
Wow.
Mexico, what is his name, Obrador, and you know the Mexican government, they're not in control of much of anything.
Oh yeah, I know.
The cartels,
I know.
The cartels are the de facto.
Well, 50% of their income comes from the cartels, and then the other 50% is split between their own manufacturing and whatnot, their own consumering, and the money that the illegals send home to them.
Yeah,
from America.
And half of the police, if not more, are being paid more than their police salary by the cartels.
How about Javier Milei down in Argentina? He's turning that country around.
No, I was talking about Javier Milei earlier, just a minute ago. A minute ago.
Okay.
Yeah, he is.
I thought you were talking. All right, I didn't think you were talking about Argentina. Sorry.
Yeah, I
must have missed
mentioned
that.
Javier Milei. He's concentrating more on economics and government efficiency, but he has also turned that around. So that's El Salvador and Brazil and Argentina. Ecuador has become pretty bad. It was never, super bad, but it's become pretty bad.
A lot of those places are, because when you go communist, it just crumbles every part of your society. Every part of it. That's why that congressman, that FBI agent, I'm still trying to find that. I don't know who I sent it to. Hang on, let me try to find it, because you guys got to see that. I think I sent it to somebody through Facebook IM. Let me take a look. Let me see. Nope, didn't send it there.
Oh, Bukele. Is that? Yeah, I probably got the name wrong. In El Salvador. Is it Bukele?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the name wrong.
Yeah, here it is. I got the video. Go ahead.
I can explain it away like Tim Waltz. Just call myself a knucklehead.
All right. Let me play this for you guys. This, Guys, this was fucking chilling to me. It was chilling to hear this FBI whistleblower, what he's about to say. Watch this. I'm going to try to not make it as loud as possible, but here we go.
This FBI whistleblower has a warning to the American people.
About a minute and a half, and then I want to turn the rest of my time to Mr. Jordan.
Yes, sir. I would just say that I consider the hearing today my last act of service as a public servant for the United States of America, and I'll give you my professional opinion. I personally have no confidence that the FBI will rein in its own conduct. There are no current effective checks and balances against them conducting lawless action with any type of correction in a legitimate time frame. Their ability to overclassify information can allow them to stonewall forever. My other recommendations are in the natural order. First, vote. The second is the Second Amendment. Arm yourself and know how to defend yourself. Make 3 to 4 friends in your neighborhood and promise to come to each other's mutual aid in times of hardship. And during the Great Depression, people stocked up a pantry. So I think that's a good practice, especially in our economic times, and make sure you have 3 to 4 months of food. As a person of faith, I'd say pray the rosary and read the gospel of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and live it every day. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Can you imagine that? That's an FBI guy saying, this is my last day, and I want to tell you this. And he's basically saying the commies are here to stay, and they're going to go after you. Because see, when you go communist, what happens is you spend all your time trying to remain in power. So what you do is you get your law enforcement agencies to no longer do law enforcement. I was talking about this earlier. You're now an intelligence guy because you don't have to follow any of the rules of law enforcement. You don't have any timeline on you. No judge is going to say, hey, you've been doing that case for 45 days. What's the deal? You gotta throw it away. No, because I'm just doing intelligence gathering, right? And then they could do law enforcement after they spend all that freaking time doing intelligence gathering that they have no time clock on it, and they can make up any goddamn thing they want, right? After the FISA warrants that they did, the way they did those, put bullshit in there, and the judges all signed off on it. Remember in 2016? Well,
yeah, always remember, you can vote yourself into communism, but you don't get to vote yourself out.
I know that's the last time you get to vote. Let's see. Creepy turn and get burned. Did I do that? Yeah, white dudes. Mules Navi, American victims died. Jill. Yeah. Blaze investigates with supply chain challenges. Let's see. Here we go. Survival of the beef industry. And this is important too. A lot of people don't think about this, but here we go. Liberty Daily, which is a great aggregate site. Check them out. thelibertydaily.com. They're very good. With supply chain challenges coming, Survival Beef Company enacts emergency special. The port strike is over, but for now, but the damage has been done. Even though it's over for now, the supply chain in the United States is more fragile than it's been in decades. Thank you, Joe. This is why you don't steal elections. The port strike, rampant inflation combined with limited access to supplies that were once abundant have prompted many Americans to accumulate resources such as food, batteries, and meds. Toilet paper, never forget the toilet paper. Then there's the election around the corner. Before, during, and after the November 5, mass turmoil is expected to further decimate the supply chain. Yeah, the shit is coming. They're warning us. Plus, did you hear that the DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has already told us that they're going to fuck with red districts' voting machines? Oh, the way he put it was, well, we already have notices that there are foreign actors that are going to try to interfere with our voting system. Yeah, that means they're going to so vote early, guys, because that means they're going to shut down your voting district on election day. As FBI whistleblower Marcus Allen testified before Congress, make sure you have 3 to 4 months of food. Prepper All Naturals understands the needs of the American people. Despite rising beef costs, they have enacted their emergency special, 35% off. It seems more like a commercial, right? Moreover, they have allowed free shipping on all. Yeah, it's a commercial. Oh my God, they got a commercial in as an article. That's pretty good. Why? Because they're American. Let's see. Trump's response to Liz Cheney. Yeah, we already did that one. Let's see. Cuba and Venezuela. Yeah, there you go. Isn't this lovely? Watch this one. Cuba and Venezuela. Hit the like button, guys. please, if you haven't already. Cuba and Venezuela stand with Iran after missile attack on Israel. Did we think anything else is going to? The authoritarian regimes of Cuba and Venezuela expressed support for Iran after its missile attack on Israel this week. Iran launched a missile attack against Israel on Tuesday, deploying 180 missiles, none of which caused casualties inside Israel. Today's attacks marks Iran's second missile attack. Now, didn't Trump say that Venezuela's crime population went down too because they're sending them all here? He's right too. I remember
Cuba did it. It worked for Cuba. Why not Venezuela?
Exactly, right?
Yeah, what's his name? What's his name? Not Chavez. Not who is it in Venezuela now?
Oh, in Venezuela, Maduro.
Maduro.
Yeah,
he thinks it worked for Cuba.
Bad.
Why shouldn't it work for?
Yeah, well, the Dominion systems were written for Chavez. They were created for Chavez. That they're the latest thing that they're doing was for Chavez. Hey, does anybody want the global password for the Dominion systems? Because I have it. Do you want it?
Post it.
Hit me up. I'll give it to you. No, I don't want to put it on record.
Post it.
Hit me up and I'll email it to you. I'll send it to you.
Right, I don't know what I'd do with it, Rich.
Right? No. I'm just saying you could have it, but it's the stupidest. Oh my God, it's stupid. I'm not allowed to really talk about it. The story. In fact, it was Mark. Oh, the video we played tonight was War Room, right? The woman that said that she's upset that the Congress isn't doing anything to stop Jack Smith, right? Well, that's Bannon's War Room, but Bannon's in jail now because of fucking lawfare from the unconstitutional January 6th Select Committee, right? Well, our friend Mark, who we bring in here and interview him, he did the War Room last week. I'm just flipping around, on sites, and I'm like, holy crap, that's Mark, So I texted him during it, hoping he would look down at his phone, but he didn't. That would have been funny. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. He made it onto the War Room. He's getting a lot of press now. Good for him. Cuba's communist Castro regime, through its foreign ministry, released a statement on Tuesday calling for a stop to alleged Israeli aggression in the Middle East. The Castro regime, if you were sent back to Cuba, they put your ass in a re-education camp, and if you didn't graduate, you were put up against a wall that has a whole bunch of holes around you. Seriously. I don't even need to read anymore. Let me see if I got one more.
You know what we really need? We really need to have a happy story of the day.
A happy story?
We need to have a happy story of the day.
All right, let me find one. Do you have one in mind?
I'm going to try and have one for next week, but it just occurs to me.
Yeah, we're all negative here.
We probably don't have one this week, but I'm going to see if I can't find something for next week. Even if it's silly, it'll be the happy story of the week. I'm going to see if I can come up with something.
Let's do this. They're always good. Let's see. Drowning hurricane victim relieved. And the pop-up happens as I'm reading. Drowning hurricane victim relieved as rescue chopper drops $750 check. It's the Babylon Bee. Bugs Bunny banned from Baseball Hall of Fame due to performance enhancing carrot use. Ozzy Osbourne. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not even sharing the goddamn thing. Sorry, my bad, guys. Let's see. Babylon Bee. So Ozzy Osbourne endorses presidential candidate, but no one could understand which one. Rejoice. The Tim Walls Bible translation has arrived. And here are the top 10 verses. You got to see this one. 1 Corinthians 6:9. Shame Jeremiah's not here. Do not be deceived. Neither the sexually immoral, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor men who practice homosexuality shall be denied my private cell phone number. Blessed are those who burn down black-owned businesses for racial justice, for they shall be bailed out. Psalm 23:4. Yeah. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Okay, so I misspoke about actually walking through the actual valley. I got my dates mixed up. That would be him.
That would be him.
Matthew 25:40. I tell you the truth, whatever tampons you gave to the least of these, you gave those tampons to me. Exodus 20:16, thou shalt not bear false witness unless you're just like, oh, shucks, I was just a knucklehead. Then it's cool. He actually called himself a knucklehead.
He did.
Yeah, let the little children come to me and do not hinder them. For the gay students club I started meets in my classroom after school every Wednesday. That's perfect. I love the writers here. Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for you can abandon your fellow soldiers and go back home before the war starts. That's what he did. Psalm 63:4. So I will bless you as long as I live. In your name, I will lift up my hands and flap them frantically while doing high leg kicks. Because he's a coach. Oh my God. Exodus 22:2. If a thief is found breaking in, he is not guilty of sin, for he is only peacefully protesting. 1 John 4:4. For he, him, did the pronouns. For he, him who is in you is greater than he, him who is in the world. Oh my goodness. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to that interview, he basically said, I'm too stupid to tell the truth.
Exactly. Let's play this official trail.
Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the heat death of the universe. These are some of the deadliest days in history. But none of them compare to the most deadliest day. January 6, 2021. Coming soon in the most epic movie event since Robot Jocks, Left Behind, or maybe even Son of the Mask. The Babylon Bee investigates the darkest day in the history of democracy.
Where were you on January 6th?
In January?
I don't remember.
Storming the Capitol, baby. No.
Scary stuff like this happened.
Okay.
So on a scale of 9 to 10, how terrifying was what you just witnessed?
3? I don't know.
We go on location. We bring you 100% true facts.
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was murdered over 7 times.
We ask the tough questions.
Is it true that you have a Jewish space laser? This is incredibly boring. Could you explain it to me using Marvel characters?
We even go face to face with the scariest criminals you'll ever meet.
Are you the dangerous insurrection man?
Who's asking?
We're in. Into the lair of darkness I go. Darkness because he's a Republican, not because he's, Never mind.
Shame! Shame!
Game of Thrones. I love it.
This fall, the only way you can save democracy is by becoming a member of the Babylon Bee. So you can see January 6th, the most deadliest day.
Where were you on January 6th?
I was in that mob that was going into the Capitol.
I think she was one. It was arrested. I think she was. That's awesome. So that was.
Oh
that
boy,
was
that
was a high note.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna call it a night. You stuck it out the whole time. God bless you.
Stuck it out with you.
You took it for the team. I love that.
3 hours. 3 hours.
I know. It's pretty good.
So I got to go get something to eat now. Take care of the family.
Yep.
And
Me too, probably.
So everybody have a good weekend. Rich, we'll see you next week.
I will email you the global password.
Email me stuff. I'm going to try and find a happy story of the week to discuss.
That's good. We should. You know what? We're gonna create that as a block for the end of the stream.
Yeah.
We'll have to do so people will know that they can tune out when we do the happy story. Now we'll do it at different times.
Yeah,
during
sure.
the stream, so
Whatever
they don't
we want,
learn
but
because
we
I think
gotta
our
have a
people are
happy
smart.
story.
They'll figure it out. They'll be able to leave. Yeah.
We got to have a happy story. So I'm thank you for everybody that has stuck with us. If you haven't hit the like button,
We hope you had a good time.
that would be good. Yeah. We always have a good time here. Hope to see everybody next week. Everybody
Yep.
have a good week. Have a good week. We'll try and reach out to you this week with some contacts for stories.
Yeah.
And
cool. And good luck. Good luck with your retirement, dealing with everybody that wants a piece of you.
Everybody wants a piece of me now until it's like everybody's figured out that I'm retiring, and so they got to get their pound of flesh out of me before I go.
Yep.
So but that's it. That's it. So yeah, I stuck with you with the whole thing. So I will wait for you to shut it down.
Yep. We're going to be out. Well, Jimmy, I got to call him and say, dude, I ended the stream.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody, thank you. Love you all. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Hit the like button before you get out, please. It really helps us. I appreciate you guys.
And come back next week.
Come back next week. Watch my videos during the week. What else? What else you got? Go to rpwmedia.com. Read our stories there.
Read the stories.
They're for free. Yeah. All right. I'm going to end it now. Okay, guys? Have
Later,
a good one.
man.